got audio, and we may begin very well. Shabbat Shalom, honorable judges, LVE tribe, my most esteemed friends, and everyone else accompanying us. On this rather precious, heated, a bit cloudy day of Shabbat, which would seem more like summer than spring, from California, the US of A, today being the 9th of Adar the 2nd, the 13th month of the year 5994. It's on its way out to never come back. We have approximately 17 days left. March 28th of the year 2026, in which we shall study yet another chapter of Wisdom and Discipline, part 60. I was a bit late today because I was trying to publish the YouTube video with the picture, but it didn't allow me to. It can either be a Facebook error or maybe somebody with the link. When I go online, they copy it and publish it on Facebook. If they don't wait for Facebook to produce the picture, it cannot be produced anymore. It's strange, don't ask me how. But if someone publishes, try to wait for us to publish on Facebook before you do so. Let me explain this again. If I place the YouTube link in any Facebook, in this case mine, I have to wait for Facebook to produce the picture, and then that format is recorded. If I don't wait for that to happen, then, and I press in order to publish, then later no one can publish with a picture. It's like Facebook recorded that link without a picture, without a preview. It's a mistake. There's no turning back. Cannot be published any other way to make the video with the picture. And that's what happened. So then I'm going to ask you to not rush when you see the link to publish it on your Facebook until we publish it. That way you can make sure that the picture is seen. I had to add a static picture, but that's not of the video. Right, it's not properly the link. That's what happened. If that didn't happen, well, it's a Facebook error, but generally that's what happens. It has happened a couple of times, and I have comprehended what the problem is. The problem is that Facebook records it in a certain way. If I don't give it time to produce the picture of the link, then there won't be a picture ever again. Right, don't try to beat us to the punch. Wait till it has a picture already, and then you can share if that happens. Very well. That took me some time because we were, Leslie and I, trying to add a picture like there, which is not the link properly, so that it looks good, or else it's just no picture, nothing. It looks ugly. Right, it's on the side of YouTube. Right, when they rush, you have to give them time to YouTube for them to process and to give you the link with a picture. If you do it way too quickly, then there's no picture, and there's nothing to do in Facebook. No matter if you publish it later, it cannot be fixed. Just a little detail so that it looks good there in the link. So then, well, let us begin by greeting those who have had a birthday. You know that I greet even if there's people that have left already, openly left the eternal truth. I have the rule of greeting them if they signed the document which we made when we made the judgment to Babylon from that time. And then another signature came, which was precisely the signature of Yom Kippur. That of Yom Kippur, we have the signature. In any of the two, if somebody signed, I greet them for their birthday. Either they became a judge for the eternal truth, at least in that time, even if it's not now, or they agreed in the paper that we signed against Yahweh in Yom Kippur. So then that's why I greet people that evidently don't listen anymore. But here are those who have had a birthday during this week. Ramon Guananja, Argentina. Lucas Daniel Lozano Bucardo, Nicaragua. Elizabeth Requena de Sosa, Argentina. Sara Brandão, Brazil. Jemima Diaz, Guatemala. Guatemala.
Jemima le dicen Jemima o Jemima.
Do they say Jemima or Jemima in Guatemala?
Jemima.
Jemima?
Okay,
Jemima.
Acá le dicen
They say
Jemima.
Jemima here.
El mismo nombre.
Same name,
Jemima.
and it's Jemima.
Pero bueno, Jemima.
Either way, Jemima Diaz, Guatemala. Vilma Lopez, Mateo, Guatemala. Sole Tralma, Chile. Jose Tomas Fermin Sotillo, Venezuela. To each and every one of you, a great big hug on behalf of all of us, which is the eternal truth. Many blessings, many congratulations for your birthday. Very well. I imagine that all of you have watched the game of Boca against Instituto, and we won 2-0 very well. We could have scored a lot more goals. They could have scored on us too, but we played well, to tell the truth. 2-0 with a goal of Aranda, the kid that's 18 years old that really plays really well, really crushes it. It's impressive. He's going to keep growing. And of the Paraguayan Barreiro, that I love the way he plays, whether he scores or not. He leaves all the effort on the field. It's something that we need. So we won 2-0. But bad news that we had is that our goalie got injured. Marchesín. It's a pretty serious injury. He's going to be like a month or more out of the field. We're going to have Bray, that I didn't see him too sure. He was with a scenic tear. We're going to begin the Copa Libertadores with Bray. We have no other goalie. There's another one that's on the bench that is 40 years old. What's his name? Bray is young. No, Chiquito has already retired. Chiquito left to a different club and then retired. We have Garcia. Andy Garcia is an actor. No, wait. Something Garcia. I forgot his name. Somebody knows here in the chat now. But oh well, that's the only problem we've got, and we play. You already know. There is no games this weekend because there's going to be the selection. It's a horrible game we played yesterday, or the day before. On Thursday, horrible game. Horrible. We beat a country that I didn't know existed in Africa, and we beat them 2-1. A horrible game. There was no motivation. Javi Garcia. Okay, that is the goalie that we have. He's semi-retired pretty much. I have nothing against him. He hasn't played in a long time. But if something happens to Bray, an injury, a cold or something, then he's going to go. Then we have another one. Then it would be another young guy. But we go into the Copa Libertadores this Thursday. There's no soccer because the selection played, and the FIFA dates that are horrible. I hate them. It shouldn't be stopped that way. Well, Thursday we play against Talleres de Córdoba. We played against Instituto, now against Talleres. It's directed by Carlitos Tevez, and we play in Córdoba. Remember, Thursday at 16:30, 4:30 p.m. my time, Talleres de Córdoba plays against the Atlético Boca Juniors. We're going to be visitors. That'll be on Thursday, and on Tuesday of next week, we start off with the Copa Libertadores with Bray and everything. We start the Copa Libertadores. We go to Chile to play against the Catholic University. So now we start a whole bunch of games. We have to play, I don't know how many games, like all week, 2 weeks, 2 games during the week. Many games. There's going to have to be a rotation. Our coach, Ubeda, is going to have to do it. We'll see. Very well. I'd like to remind you that we got a free consult call, which is Angelina's consult call for everyone that is going through some situation that is revealed in your health, which are conflicts, to find the root thereof, to find out why the reason of which we come out of me of normality of what is called health, and we're affected by certain things. We have to understand why. It's not that we are attacked by something from the exterior, but it's rather conflicts that we formed out of situations at home, anywhere. We have conflicts, and that is translated into our organism. If you'd like to know more of why things happen to you, how to get better in certain situations, or do away with that conflict, we have a free consult call, which is Angelina's consult call, which she has a certain time because she's studying also. In the time that she has available, she dedicates it for free to work for all those who need her help. I also thank everyone that remembers about Angelina in this work that she's doing. That is very, very special and good for the eternal truth. And they remember and they donate something. Many thanks to everyone that remembers Angelina. Angelina has a waiting list because right now she's in time of exams. Exactly. She also told me what Leslie just mentioned, that there are some that are on a waiting list because precisely she's in the time of exams at college. She's studying psychology precisely, and so then be patient. You're on a waiting list, and she'll get to you very well. Shema Israel, YHWH Eloheinu, YHWH Ekhad. Hear, O Israel, Yahweh our Elohim. Yahweh is only one person. It's not two, it's not three. It's not a circus of gods, not a triune God, not even two. It's only one person. Having known that truth, everything changes absolutely. Because even if Christianity says that it is a monotheistic religion, they are not. They call it monotheistic, and they have three beings. They say it's monotheistic because the three are one. No, the three are not one. It's three individual beings, which is the Father, the Son, and Holy Spirit. It's not compatible at all with what the Bible says. Not even monotheism as they make you believe that it is. It's not. And the reality is that it's only one being. And if it's only one being, then everything becomes very easy to see in the Bible who our God is, who came, who made himself be called the Son of God. God does not have a divine Son. He did not send a divine Son. So then who came to earth? It was the very same God who made himself be called the Son of God, because he was in a different way with human nature and everything else that we know. That same being said he was personifying what the Messiah would be. John 8:31-32. Then Yeshua said, or the Messiah, unto the Jews that had believed on him, if ye were to remain in my word. This is so important. All the Christians read this and they just glance over it. My word is not the word of Moses. It is not the word of other prophets. It is not the word of Ellen G. White for the Adventist. It is the word of him. It is not his word even what it's referring to, because actually he is showing what the Messiah will say. If ye were to remain in my word, the Messiah, the words of the Messiah, the words of the Messiah, something that he was not, but rather it was an image of the Messiah, then you shall truly be my disciples, and you shall know the truth, and the truth shall make you free. So then what this text means, one of the things that this text means that everyone knows, whether he's religious or not, the truth shall make you free. Who has the truth? Only the Messiah. It's not had by the prophets. No one has it except for the Messiah. That is what the Messiah says, and you shall know the truth through my words. Through my words you shall know the truth, and that truth will make you free. Free of what? Of all the lies that take place in this world. Which in this case, if they have the Bible, they are entangled in lies. Why? Because the Bible is entirely covered with lies. Proverbs 25:2 says it clearly. It is the glory of Elohim to conceal the word. With what? With lies. For example, I could read it this way. It is the glory of Elohim is to cover the word with lies. Yet the glory of the King, which is the Messiah, is to take the lies out of the Word. That is what the text says. It is the glory of Elohim to conceal the Word. When something is covered, it is concealed. If something's listening to me for the first time, they're saying, oh, he's adding words to the Bible. No, we're reading exactly what the Bible said. It is the glory of Elohim to conceal the Word. If I want to conceal something, I cover it. I cover it. What does it mean to cover? What does it mean to cover? To cover, what does it mean to cover something? To cover it so that the truth of the act do not be seen. What does it mean? To put a cover so that no one can actually see the way it is. So then, how is the Bible concealed? Yes, the Bible is concealed, and if it is concealed, no one can discover it. And to discover it means to take the cover out. To uncover, discover, conceal. Who's the king? The king is a symbol of the Messiah. That's why the Messiah says, and you shall know the truth, and the truth shall make you free. Yet, the glory of the king, which is the Messiah, is to search out the Word. To search out is to take the cover out, the cover of lies, to take it away from the Bible, from the Word. That is why when all the religious people, that's why there are so many religions, or else if the Bible were clear, with only one truth, there would be only one religion, which is the Bible, no one else. There are so many religions because there are so many interpretations. Why interpretations? Because the Bible is concealed, and everyone tries to interpret whatever they want, or what they can, or what they understand. Or else there wouldn't be different versions. The versions are born due to the cover of the Bible, because one says, he's saying one thing, no, he's not saying that. He's saying something else. So then, that is where the different forms of seeing what the Bible says begin, but it's all a cover. Because it's all a lie. And the people clearly, at the end of times, will say this, Jeremiah 16:19 through 21, Yahweh, my strength and my fortress, my refuge in the day of tribulation, unto thee shall come the peoples from the ends of the earth, and in other words, everyone, those near and up until the ends of the earth, and shall say, only lies was the inheritance of our fathers. No matter if we had the Bible, we didn't have the Bible. Only lies was the inheritance of our fathers. Only a lying cover was the inheritance of our fathers. Vanity to which there is no avail. If it is man that makes himself gods, then they are not gods. And how does man make his own gods? Because they interpreted the Bible however they could, however they wanted or understood. They made their gods. That is why, that is where it comes, the saying comes that God is good, that God is love. To some extremes, they try to convince me, saying that God cannot kill. That God is so extremely good that he cannot kill. And that at the end of times, the sin that we accumulate in us is what will kill us. But it's not even God killing us. They get to that extreme of saying that, to say that God is good. When God is the biggest assassin of them all. Who invented death? Who invented death? It was invented by Yahweh. He did. Or else it would not exist. It would just not exist. Death would not. They could be good or evil, but death would not exist. The one that said that they will die is the one that invented the possibility of no longer existing. He did. He is the assassin from the very beginning, the greatest of them all. If I create a great flood and people drown, I can't say, no, God didn't kill them. He just added water, but those that were drowned were them. I can't say that. I can't say that. Who would ever say that God does not kill? It's incredible. The people, they either try to be original or to have a special light that the rest don't have, but they try to convince me that God does not kill. And as it turns out, God is the greatest assassin of them all. That is why it is man that made himself those types of gods. Christians made three gods. Oh no, it's a trinity, because it's precisely the Father, which is one being, the Son, which is a being, and the Holy Spirit, which is another being. And they cannot be the same person. Because when Jesus, the Son, was on earth, he prayed to the Father, praying to the Father. The Father answered, everyone heard, "This is my beloved Son in whom I am well pleased." And they saw a light come down from heaven in the form of a dove, and that was the Holy Spirit. Then you have the three, they'll say. All the Trinitarians, there's the three. The Son being baptized, the Father speaking, and the dove descending upon him. All that is part of the deceit. The one who spoke from heaven was the same Yeshua. And then they'll say, was he a ventriloquist? More than a ventriloquist. A lot more. He could do any types of sounds outside of himself. Like we could do now with special effects. Now we have even artificial intelligence that can make images that don't exist. And so then we start to make it seem so laughable, like a burning bush. For us, that's stupid. And just like a Christmas tree that can look the same thing. For things to speak at home, Alexa speaks to me. Anything speaks to me. I breathe, and she breathes. They said, please add me water. Back then there was no vacuums. What did the vacuum cleaner would talk to you? We're in different times. We're not here to be deceived like Moses and others. So through that cover, people invented gods. That God is good is an invented God, or that God is a Trinity, it's an invented God, or that it's just a Father and the Son, that's an invented God, or I just believe in Jesus, that is the Son of God, it is a God that is absolutely invented. Jesus is not the Son of God. That is a lie that came out from the mouth of the father of lies. For him to tell the people, the multitudes, I am the Son of God that descended from heaven, it is a vile lie. It's a vile so great, because they should have confronted him with the Bible saying, how can you be the Son of God if God doesn't have a son? So then that would have gotten him in trouble. But no one said that. Absolutely no one said that. They said blasphemy, the Jews said, and in a certain sense, by saying it's a blasphemy because God does not have a son. But what was the answer of Jesus or Yahweh? He would just disappear and leave, because they did want to kill him, because it was a blasphemy. To say he was the Son of God, the divine Son that came from heaven, it was blasphemy. Either he was Yahweh, or he was a man that was lying. Or it was Yahweh lying, which is what it was, Yahweh lying. Very well. And everyone will say, only lies was the inheritance of our fathers, vanity to which there is no avail. If it is men that makes himself gods, then they are not gods. That is why, behold, I will make it be known unto you this time, I shall make it be known unto you this time. It's not that I'll make it be known. This time I'll show you the strength of mine arm. It's not what it means, because they put commas wherever. Behold, I will make it be known this time. This time I will make it be known unto you the truth. Why? Because the one speaking is the Messiah. So then it'll say, this time what I will tell you is the truth. It is not like when the prophets would speak. It's not like when not even God would speak, because it's all a lie. This time you will know the truth. That is what the text says. That's why, behold, this time I will make it be known unto you. You shall see the strength of mine arm, and you shall know that my name is Yahweh. Not Yahweh the Creator, though. It is the new Yahweh of the earth, which is the God that inherits the earth. Inherits it and is the Son of God. Not a divine Son, but rather a human Son born here on earth. Pretty much what Yeshua lived, which was a symbol of the Messiah. So then, are they all deceived? They are. What we're studying in Proverbs is very much related with this, because in the first chapters that we're seeing, the one that we're going to study today, it always talks about a woman, either foreigner or strange or a prostitute. to not deal with that woman, since the Bible is completely concealed, completely covered. No one even notices what it's talking about. If you study it and you don't even have the measuring rod, just by studying, trying to think, it's not talking about a prostitute that is a common prostitute woman. No, there is a deeper wisdom here than that which is so elemental. So then, even without the measuring rod that takes the light from the text to cover it, the Jews noticed that actually some Jews, actually he was not talking about a woman, a real woman. It was talking about a hidden wisdom. That woman, they identified as the false religions. And they named her the religions which are against the Torah. In other words, everything that is polytheism or everything that is the other religions of all the countries. And the good woman, because we see a good woman, the woman of your youth, and the woman of your youth, the woman of your life that gives you youth, that gives you eternal life, they identify her as the Torah, with wisdom, but through a symbol. We have a prostitute, and we have a woman that is wisdom. These two women is what takes place in this world. With whom do you marry? You either marry the prostitute or you find wisdom, but there are very few who find wisdom. And the next chapter that we started to study says exactly the same things, but it adds some details. I like this chapter a lot for many details, and I'll remind them to you, but it will apply it exactly as it should be applied. There are two women on this earth, the false religions and the true religion, no one else. So then, today's text, which is the chapter that we're going to start today, is chapter 7 of Proverbs, and the text, Proverbs 7, 1 through 3, New Living Translation. Bear in mind what the Messiah said, if you obey my words, you shall truly be my disciples, and you shall know the truth, and the truth shall make you free. This text says, my son, follow my advice, always treasure my commands, obey my commands, and live. Guard my instructions as you guard your own eyes. Tie them on your fingers as a reminder. Write them deep within your heart. Exactly, it is the words. If you keep my words, you shall be truly my disciples, and you shall know the truth, and the truth shall make you free. And why does the author of Proverbs, Solomon, who was under a hypnosis to write all these things, because he didn't even know what he was writing, he's talking like as if he were the Messiah, because only the Messiah can speak that way, no one else. Not even Solomon can speak like this, no one else. Because what we're studying in the book of Proverbs is a guide of the Messiah. That's why the people read it, don't understand it, or they understand it in whatever which way they want to understand, but they don't achieve the understanding of what it is. The book of Proverbs is a guide, just like Solomon was a figure, a clear figure of the Messiah, a clear, so clear figure of the Messiah. Both Jesus of Nazareth, a clear figure of the Messiah, just like what Jesus of Nazareth said, just like what Solomon wrote, which are messianic figures. That book, Proverbs, is directly a teaching for the Messiah. That is, for that very reason, is it so hidden. Everything, the whole message that's concealed that Yahweh placed there for the Messiah. That is why it talks about always that his words are absolutely the commands, not those of Moses, or else he could not write it this way. It would seem to be a way that's very proud of writing this,
son las mismas palabras
but it's the same words
Yeshua
that Yeshua said,
haciendo como si fuera
that he was acting as the Messiah, if ye keep my commands.
son los
It is the
palabras
words
de
of Yeshua.
Hijo mío,
My son,
entonces,
follow my advice,
atesora siempre mis
treasure my
palabras,
commands,
obedece mis mandatos,
obey my commands, and live.
guarda mis
Guard my
instrucciones,
instructions
están
as
compartidas a tus
you
ojos,
guard your own eyes.
átalas a tus dedos,
Tie them on your fingers as a reminder.
escríbelas en los
Write them
bolsillos de
deep
tu
within your
corazón.
heart.
Esto se va a
And
aplicar
this will
siempre
always be applied
cuando el Mesías habla.
when the Messiah speaks.
El Mesías va a ser
The Messiah will be the light,
única del
the
mundo.
only light of the world.
Entonces ya no
So
va
then
a
already
valer absolutamente nada.
nothing else will be of any value. There you will see it in its complete dimension. When the Messiah speaks unto the world, there's no other way.
No hay un camino.
There's not an alternate way that is the Torah.
No, no queremos escuchar
No, we don't want to hear the Messiah because we guide ourselves by the law of the Torah. It's no good.
no sirve ahora.
It's no good now, even less
Cuando el Mesías le habla.
when the Messiah speaks unto the world. So then,
Ya la
already
Biblia
the Bible
pierde
loses
total valor
complete value when the Messiah speaks unto the world. He will tell them,
Él les va a decir, estas son
these are my commandments. It's not those of Moses or the God Creator. They are my commandments because I'm the new God.
nuevo Dios.
That's why it clearly says, even if it seems arrogant, it isn't. My son, follow my advice, treasure my commands, obey my commands, and live.
Y vive. Son
The only way of getting to life is through the Messiah. I'm the way, the truth, and the life. No one comes unto the true God or the eternal life.
eterna,
The Father is written, if it's not through mine.
o sea,
In other words, I am
soy todo.
it all, the Messiah says.
Guarda
Keep my
mis
instructions, not the others, my instructions, just as you guard your eyes. Tie them on your fingers as a reminder. Write them deep within your heart. And it's interesting, because what does it mean to write in the deep of your heart? Up until today, science that studies the brain, the neuroscience, and all of the psychiatry and psychology put together, no one knows exactly where nor where is information stored in the human being. They have a certain idea because of tests that if they take a piece, they lose a memory, but actually they don't know, they haven't the least idea how we store information. You know that we have a memory that is short and a long-term memory, a short-term and a long-term. One to accumulate briefly and forget, and a part of the brain accumulates a memory that accumulates it on a permanent basis. What we ate 2 weeks ago, we forget unless that food has been of a higher level that we keep. But the rest we don't know. We don't even know what we did the day before. We can't remember what we did the day before. We have that short-term memory, which it eliminates. I don't know. They say that. I'm explaining what they say. I don't know if we eliminate it, or if we store it in a different place, which is the waste basket. I don't know, because there's information that we think we eliminated and years pass by, and apparently we remember something that we were supposed to have eliminated. So I don't know how the brain works. These who study the brain also don't know. So then they say we at least know that we have a short-term memory and a long-term memory. We cannot accumulate everything in the long-term memory because it says that our brain would be overwhelmed. That is what they say. It would be occupied and too much information, way too much information, so then our brain eliminates. I don't know if it eliminates or it takes it out of its conscious mind. And they say we don't know where the information is kept. Now I read in the Bible a hidden message that tells me that they are written, well, in the other text, it says that they are written in the table of your heart. Is this literal? Or are we always talking about simulated things? Is it that in the heart information is stored? They say, I don't know. I'll tell you what they say. They say many people that have come, that have had heart transplants, all of a sudden, let's suppose, I've read many cases, but a woman received a heart from a young man that had died, but precisely it was a good heart, and all of a sudden from her not liked heavy metal, now she likes heavy metal. She doesn't know why. She doesn't know why she likes heavy metal. No, an older lady. In other cases that say, I started to remember things that I've never lived. Things, odd things like that. Kind of like the heart is an extension of the brain. Could it be so? Well, it could be. They say that the heart has neurons also, and they don't know how they are utilized, like in the brain. I really don't know. I'm just telling you what they read, what I read. They could be deceiving me. I don't know. But all I read here, it says that we have to write it in the table of the heart. There's a reason why whatever has to do with love, affection, we always use a heart. A heart. Why? Love resides in the heart. We never say I love you with the brain. Oh, I love you with all my heart. Why with all my heart? And not with the brain. Is love accumulated here? Certain memories here? We don't know. Hammer discovered that the possession affects the heart directly. Why? Well, it's got to do. It doesn't explain why.
Explica que cuando tenemos un conflicto de pérdida de territorio, empezamos a herir las arterias, las coronarias específicamente. Se empiezan a corroer, herir y abrirse. ¿Pero por qué me va a afectar un órgano con algo que parece tan trivial como el territorio? Porque el territorio está tan pegado al corazón de forma comprobable. Claro, cuando recupero el territorio, entonces las arterias dañadas empiezan a atraer colesterol y empiezan a pegar las partes que se dañaron para hacer una reparación. Y con el tiempo suficiente se logran reparar. Ahora, si la medicina moderna te ve colesterol en las arterias, dicen usted está comiendo mucha mantequilla, mucha grasa, la dieta de usted es malísima, y no tiene absolutamente nada que ver con la dieta, el colesterol acumulado en las arterias. Nada que ver. Tiene que ver con una reparación de territorio. Y claro, si según Hammer, el conflicto de pérdida de territorio fue muy grande y se prolongó por mucho tiempo, se hizo una masa conflictual, lo que él llama, que es el conflicto grande, porque hay conflictos más chicos, pero hay conflictos grandes. Una cosa es perder un territorio chiquito y una cosa es perder un territorio grande. Entonces el territorio grande te va a afectar más que un territorio chiquito. Si alguien viene y me roba un lápiz, perdí un territorio, pero chiquito. Pero si alguien viene y me roba el auto, es bastante más grande el territorio. Y si alguien viene y me roba mi esposa, es más grande el territorio. Y si alguien viene y me roba mi esposa, mi auto, mi casa y mi plata, entonces el territorio es enorme. Entonces todo es territorio, pero depende del nivel. Entonces el cerebro dice, bueno, acá perdiste el territorio. Vamos a empezar, hay que recuperar el territorio. Hammer descubrió eso en los lobos. En los lobos, cuando muere el jefe de la manada de los lobos, esto es literal, muere el jefe de la manada de los lobos, alguien tiene que surgir como el jefe, y no hay elección.
There is no elections, no democratic elections. So let's suppose that there are 5 male young wolves, and then when they weren't hunting, the chief died, and the female and everyone, they look to see who the leader will. So then the strongest, let's say that there are 5 male wolves, immediately they start to fight to see who will take over the territory. 2 things will happen, according to Hammer. There are some which they notice they're weaker, and immediately they change their brain. I can't understand it, but I accept it because you see it in nature. They go from the right, from the left brain to the right brain, and the male wolves, they become gay wolves immediately. They subjugate to the one that will be the alpha male. If there's another one that is not able to switch over, he fights till he dies, because he will not subjugate. Those who subjugate it, Hammer says that their brain changes to a point that they allow the male wolf to have sexual relations with them. They're not gay, but because of the nature, they become gay to survive. To survive. Now, if he disappears, then they're all gay. Then immediately they all change again. And there's one leader, and they go back to being gays again. That is what the nature is. That is what Hammer discovered. And there's a wolf that says, no, we're going to fight to the death. So then that's where the fight starts. And they fight. They don't kill each other. But when they're very injured, but the injured one does not subjugate, but he leaves. And he bears the title, as you know, as a solitary wolf. That wolf will live his entire life alone. He will never get together with anybody. He fought for the leadership, he lost it, he didn't die, he didn't become gay, and he left. So he was a solitary wolf, and all the rest are feminine. You've got the female ones and the feminine wolves. And the male, alpha male, is the leader of the pack. So then that effect, Hammer says, why am I saying all this? Because everyone has lost territory. But, so as to not die out of it, and the arteries not get hurt, the biology switches them to feminine. Because if your brain is on the feminine side and you lose territory, it doesn't affect you. The arteries are affected when your brain is on the male side. That's why the women, the left-handed women, before menopause, they're not affected with the heart. It affects another part that I can't remember exactly what it is, but it's a different part. But they don't suffer. I think they have the different kind of an affection, but they don't suffer. They're not affected with the heart. And when they go into menopause, they become male. And now it affects like all the right-handed men. Like right-handed men. Left-handed men are not affected due to loss of territory. They have different things that affect them, but not due to loss of territory, because they live the conflict as if they were a woman. And that's why it's so important. The laterality of it. It's too complex. I can't talk a lot about this. I told you that I wanted to give you the Germanic medicine again, but I won't be able to. Because the terms are so strict that you cannot speak about it. What I'm talking about now are just stories, Chinese stories right now, just fantasy. So then, that's why the attacks with in the cardiac with women, when they lose territory, is after they're 50 years old. Then it does affect them. And then they could have a coronary. But not before. Men, it affects all their life. Right-handed men. The wolves, so as to not die, of the heart, they switch their brain from male to left, from right to left, or left to right, whatever. So then they suffer the conflict with the loss of territory as a female wolf, and they don't have that problem anymore. The solitary wolf suffers it always and cannot recuperate it anymore, because when he recuperates it, he'll die. If the solitary wolf, if they call him to be leader of a pack, he dies. He can no longer be a leader of a pack, because he would be recuperating territory. He'll never recuperate it. That's what Hammer discovered. a person that lost territory and they have a huge mass, conflicted mass, in a long time has passed through it, it's better that they don't recuperate it because it would be worse. And that's it, it's over. But not to recuperate them. That's why I told you the story of the wolves. What happens when the solitary wolf recuperates it? He dies. So in biology, they know. That's what Hammer discovered. Hammer knows that the solitary wolf will be solitary forever. He cannot go back to recuperate a territory because he would die. So then, in that way, our heart works. It's strange. The heart has information, and here it says, write them in the deep of your heart. How can I write something in my heart? And it's talking about to write it in your heart, my words, my commandments. That is what it's saying, to write in your heart. It's incredible. Is it that? How much do we not know or ignore about biology? How I would like when our God Creator wants to decides, when He decides by His divine gonads and ovaries to say, okay, this is as far as we go. I'll give you all the information of how you're created. Here's a manual of your creation. It's when I want to fix a car, I need the manual from the factory, from the car maker, to see what cable, what color, what code in the computer, all of the sensors and everything. I have to just be guessing, and I'm not going to just do something else. But I have the manual from the factory. I'll look at the diagrams and I understand, oh, this cable goes with this one, this white one that has orange comes from the computer, and it's for this sensor. If I don't have that, I go crazy. Same thing to see. Someday our Creator gives us the manual of man. It says, look, man was created like this. These are all the circuits. You can alter everything. You can program it, deprogram it, change this, change that, reconstruct this to fix this. We don't have that manual. We're just guessing this cable is for this. I don't even know what this is for. And that's what it is. Until He decides. And I hope it's soon and already, because the time is ending. I have questions before starting with chapter 7 of Proverbs. Don't forget to give us a like. In the videos, we are just a few, but we put all our effort into it, and we always forget to give us a like. So, give us a like. I have some questions. This is the first one. It says, hello, Christian and lineage, cordial greetings and blessings for all four. My question is, according to the books of Enoch, chapter 46, 5 through 6, and Revelation 17, 12 through 14, these kings that you mention, that they mention, or that it mentions, that Enoch mentions, are the same kings of Revelation 17. So then they are all Orientals, with Iran at the head, like Russia, China, Turkey, India, and all of them. Many thanks, my friend Christian Semper Fi. It's a very good question. The answer, I don't know if it'll be so much because we don't have a lot of information about this. What I spoke to you about Iran and the U.S. and Israel, it's as if to say we are in a very speculative terrain, but is what could happen. I'm going to read to you what Enoch says, and I'll read in another translation. With the book of Enoch, I take it with many grains of salt, because Yahweh can speak to you in any way. If He used a donkey to speak, many donkeys, He used many donkeys, many asses. They're almost all asses, but a real ass, a real donkey that spoke to, what's the name? He spoke to Balaam. He spoke to Balaam. There's a whole bunch of other donkeys and asses that spoke, but He utilizes whatever He wants. Who shall not prophesy if God speaks? Who shall not prophesy? So then the book of Enoch For me, it says many stupid things, but already from this point of view, right, at this height in knowledge. But you can have maybe some message that it could help us in hidden messages. I'll read what Enoch says in the question that they say here. That's very good. What it says in the book of Enoch, I'll read it in the version that we translated. The book of Enoch, the Eternal Truth, 56, 5 through 8, reads as follows. In those days, in the final days, that is, the angels shall return. We used to understand that it was the angels that they had disobeyed God, but it could be interpreted in many different ways. Actually, no angel that disobeyed God existed, none. There's no angel that got with women, none. Now, angels as you think. We are the angels. Angels as you think. Divine angels that saw the human women and they took them, and then Nephilim came from there. It's all an enormous lie. But oh well, I'll read what the book says. In those days the angels shall return, and they shall join, and they'll go through the east, through the Medes and the Persians, where Iran is now. And they shall incite the kings, and a spirit of revolt shall enter them. And these shall arise from their thrones violently as lions out of their lair, and wolves hungry in the midst of the sheep. They shall arise and they shall go, and in Spanish, they shall go says Iran. It's the same word, Iran. It means to go in Spanish. They shall go in Spanish. It says Iran, they might say in Spanish, but oh well. This says they shall arise and they shall go, and they shall tread on the land of their chosen. That is the land of the chosen of Yahweh. They shall arise, and they shall go and tread the land of their chosen, and the land of their chosen, in other words, Israel, shall become before them in a terrain that is trodden underfoot, and in a trodden way, but the city of his just, which might that be? You have a new Jerusalem, all stupid things. Now that I'll finish reading it, I'll interpret it for you. But the city of his just shall be a stumbling block for their horses, and they'll fight amongst each other, and his own right hand shall be harsh upon against themselves, and the man shall not know his brother, or the father his son, or the son his father, and the slaughter shall not end until innumerable amount of cadavers are left. And the Sheol shall open its jaws, and they shall be swallowed up. Their destruction will be final and eternal. Sheol shall devour the sinners in the presence of the chosen. It's a very good text, but I can interpret it in how the things will take place, how they should take place. That is why I found it very important what is going on now in Iran. The kings that it's talking about now, it's not just Iran, but all the kings that are ruling, including Netanyahu. So then, at some point in time, in the end, the book says, there will be a revolt in the part of the east, precisely, what we call the Middle East. It says it clearly. They shall launch amongst the east. What is happening in the Middle East, what is happening over there, is what could unchain the final episode where the Messiah is made to be known in one way or another. He has to be empowered for that, right? So then, it says that according to the book, that there's going to be a war, that the Medes are going to arise and going to tread upon Israel and tread upon it completely. That's part number one. Part two, they want to take over something else, which now is the city of the saints. What is the city of the saints? The city of the saints, in this case, of the just. Actually, it's all one symbol of the Messiah. if I place there, and then they shall arise against the Messiah. Why? Because it's the story that will take place. How can we see this prophetically speaking? All of you perfectly well know that I don't like the Muslims, and I'll never like them. You know this, and I've said it many times. I also don't like Judaism. But between Judaism and the Muslims, I'll keep the Judaism. You understand that clearly. It's not because I like Judaism, but I have to choose. I'll keep Judaism. And between Judaism and Christianity, I would almost have to choose Christianity, because if I would have to choose forcefully, I would choose one that is not so toxic. For me, the most toxic one is the Muslim, the Jews less toxic as a religion, not as a prophecy. And the least toxic one are the Christians. Even if they believe in stupid shit, it is less toxic than those that want to take over the whole world because they think that they are the chosen people. And even less toxic than the others that also think that they are the chosen people. Because the Muslims, they find themselves a chosen people. They believe in Jesus. It's just that Jesus is not God, but rather a prophet, very important one. And they believe that at the end of times, Jesus will return. And Jesus is going to kill the false Messiah, or the anti-Messiah as they call it, which he doesn't have a name now, which I can't remember. And so then Jesus will reign with them and will give them power. So then every religion has, in the end of it all, the desire and the promises they will rule. I don't like the Muslims all that well. But in this case, in this war that we have between Iran and Israel, Iran is entirely innocent. I don't know if innocent, but completely the part is not attacking and was attacked. And not just attacked now, they've been attacked for a long time. So then now the response of Iran against Israel and the U.S. and everyone that joins them will determine the course of this earth. Because if Iran wins, it won't be left in another defeat of the U.S. and Israel. No. Because what will take place is that the U.S. will be kicked out of the zone. They'll lose the business and the stability of the petroleum and the dollar, the petrodollar, and the U.S. will fall into a war, a civil war, because the economy will fall down, will collapse. Will stop being the American empire. It'll be broken. If the U.S. were to win this war and crushes Iran, not just will it crush Iran, because with Iran, then China and Russia will fall too, because Iran, China, and Russia are joined. If Iran falls, the next thing that falls is Russia and China. In other words, to fall in subjugation more economically. I'm not saying that they'll disappear as a country. So then the U.S. will have more of a control upon the world, which is not the U.S. but Israel. So then Israel would expand and would achieve their prophecy of the great Israel. Because what they want is the terrain that God supposedly gave them, which is of the river, from the Red Sea to the Euphrates. That whole part, which is a part of Iran and all the rest of the countries of the Gulf, all of that is Israel. And if Iran loses, then there's no one that can defend themselves against them, and they will take over everything. What they saw in Gaza, as you've seen, will be seen in all of the Middle East, and Israel taking over everything. Because the only one that defended the rest of the countries from Israel was Iran. Now, if Iran falls, Israel, along with the U.S., they'll do whatever they want. Whatever they want. They'll become the great Israel. So then we have that scene. We have that scene. Will that scene take place? No, that scene won't take place. It won't take place because it's not in the prophecy for it to happen. It's not in the prophecy for it to happen. What will happen in the prophecy is that the earth of his chosen would be trodden underfoot. That will happen because the prostitute of Revelation 17 is burned with fire. It clearly says, I'll read it to you now. So then the prophecy says that Israel does not win but loses. Not just loses, but they are burned with fire. That is what needs to happen. Will that take place now? Well, I would love for these prophecies to take place now already. It could take a couple more years. It could take a couple more years. We still need 6 more years for the end of the world. For the end, not of the world. The world does not have an end, but the end of this millennium. We have 6 long years for the end of this millennium. So then it could be taken aback 3, 4 years, 5 years, even 6 years. Anything could happen in the last year for Israel to be destroyed. It could happen. It'd be better for it to happen now. We continue on with the hypothesis of this prophecy. So then now Iran, if God wants it, because the wars are won by whatever God wants and decides, and already it's been done, actually, and designed. So then, of course, in the scheme that we already have, so then Iran can receive help of you know who, from whom, and little by little, it'll be destroy the force of the U.S., kick the U.S. from the place, from the area, and take over. Right there, Russia and China will become great because they are aiding. So then we advance in this position of prophecy. If they achieve that, then the U.S. falls. And even, it could even disappear as a power, because all the Americans will feel so bad, because you already know nuclear bombs, they don't exist. Now, Trump is threatening that he'll use them, but he's not going to use anything because it doesn't exist. There's no weapons of such destruction. They could not have ever existed. It wasn't convenient for God for them to exist. Imagine that he's going to risk humans to have that and to be able to. It's the same lies like we didn't go to the moon, there's no nuclear bomb. So then, if Trump loses this war, then the U.S. goes into a hecatomb. A hecatomb, it is a word that also was seen some time ago. It is a word that comes from the Hebrew, which means lots of sacrifice. Thousands of sacrifices. So then, this will be a hecatomb. The Americans with different factions. We have the Americans, which are the ones that love the country, which are the, yes? Hecatomb. A large scale of sacrifices. It's a Hebrew word. For example, Solomon, when he dedicated the temple, he did a hecatomb. Lots of sacrifice. So then the Americans, patriots, will say, this is a hecatomb, and it'll be a civil war. They'll kill each other, and they'll be divided. The states will, California wants to be free, Texas wants to be free. So then the states will be free. California's going to say, what did Trump do? What the fuck did he do? It's the richest state of the U.S. The U.S. lives because of California. And we have to pay for the broken plates because of what this imbecile does in the White House? No. We no longer want to belong to this stupid union. No more American Union. This is disunion. So they'll break up, the states will. California will be a country. And they'll fight for who will have the power of that country. And that's how they'll divide all the things. And the U.S. will no longer exist. And Israel, right then, it's a supposition is what I'm speaking about, which is what could happen in that moment in time. Russia and China and Iran and all of the countries which joined them, like Korea of the North, and they take over South Korea and all the rest. Right then and there, a new empire is born, which is the empire, which I read here, the Medes and the Persians. I could read it, the Russians, Chinese, and the Medes. So then that empire, that new empire, it's no longer the American one, but the empire, the Asian empire, I could say Russia, China, and Iran, and all the rest that will join them. It's those that will face a new problem, which will be the Messiah. So then, having understood this, what I've just told you, this fantasy story, I'll read this again. In those days, the angels will return. They will join and go towards the east, towards the Medes and the Persians, and they will incite the kings, and a spirit of revolt will go into them, and they will arise from their thrones violently, like lions from their lair, and like hungry wolves in the middle of the pack, and they will go and trot the land of their chosen, and it'll become a land that is trodden underfoot. And part of the chosen could also be the U.S. But the city of the just, which is the Messiah, the city of the just will be a stumbling block for them. Once they take the control of the world, it won't be to rule it for 400 years. No. That was part of the prophecy, because they are in charge of casting Babylon down, because the big Babylon is this one. Someone has to throw that Babylon down. Those 10 kings, they have to cast Babylon down. But once casting Babylon down, it's not that those 10 kings say, no, we're the Messiah. No. They'll want to take possession of the entire world. But they'll meet with something else. What are they going to run into? But the city of the just will be a stumbling block for their horses, and they'll fight amongst themselves, and their own right hand will be hard against themselves, and a man will not know his brother, nor the son his father or mother. And the slaughter will not cease until an innumerable amount of cadavers is left, and the Sheol will open its jaws, and they will be swallowed up. Their destruction shall be final and eternal, not that of the people, but of the empire, that is the new empire. The Sheol will devour the sinners in the presence of the chosen, or in the presence of the Messiah. Very well. This is the possible story that may happen, which by not being able to fight against the Messiah, they start to fight amongst themselves, because that is what could get to happen. Now, and the question says, what does this have to do with Revelation 17? Is it the same kings? Let's read Revelation 17. Revelation 17, 12 through 18. New Living Translation. The 10 horns of the beast are 10 kings who have not yet risen to power. They will be appointed to their kingdoms for one brief moment. There I understand clearly that we could be speaking about the same thing, that the beast, in that figure of the beast, there is a power that is outside of the beast, which is like 10 horns, but that they're not the actual beast. Those 10 powers that take power in the end of it, for a brief time, it would seem to be the powers that destroy the beast. In other words, although the figure is the same, a beast with 10 horns, those 10 horns are inert without any activity until the final moment of the story, and those 10 horns take power for a very short time to cause the destruction, and then in turn they are destroyed. That's what I want you to understand. So then, since God conceals everything and He places symbols so that no one understands a thing, actually those 10 horns that belong to the beast are taken against the beast. Who are those 10 horns? Well, if this story is like what I've been telling you just now, it would be fantasy, castles in the air. If this story is true, then these 10 horns are Russia, Iran, China, North Korea, and all of the rest of the countries. It could be India to join, and all the rest of the countries that join with Iran. They're neither U.S. or Israel. It's those 10 kingdoms, those 10 countries, they join against the beast and destroy it, but they'll rule for a very short time. Let's read the story from this point of view.
Los 10 cuernos de la
The
bestia
10
son
horns of the
10
beast
reyes, que
are 10
todavía no han
kings
subido al poder,
that have yet not
pero
risen
estos
to
serán
power.
designados como reyes
They will be
por un
appointed
breve
to their
momento,
kingdoms for one brief moment, just a very short time for them
para
to
reinar
act.
junto con la
To
bestia,
reign
exactamente.
along with the
Reinar
beast,
junto con la
exactly.
bestia,
They
pero
reign
no
along with the
siempre.
beast, but they end up destroying the beast. Notice,
Estarán de acuerdo en
the 10
entregarle a la
will
bestia
agree
el
to
poder y
give
la autoridad que tienen. Por
the
supuesto,
power to the
Rusia y
beast
todos
and
los
their
demás
authority.
le
Of
entregan
course,
todo lo que
Russia
tienen
and all the
y se
rest, they give
rinden.
whatever
Por
they
eso
surrender
existe hasta
into
el
the
día de
U.S.
hoy el petrodólar.
That's why the
Por eso
petrodollar
Estados Unidos le
exists
pone
up until today.
los-
That's why the U.S.
las, restricciones
places all the
que tantas
restrictions
pelotas a
that
Rusia
they
y nadie
want
dice nada.
upon Russia. No one says a thing. Nothing.
Rusia se puede quejar, pero
Russia can complain, but no one says a
Estados
thing.
Unidos dice, "Vamos a
The U.S.
restringir
says
a
we're going to
Rusia, a
restrict
Rusia."
Russia.
Y ya está. No hagan
And that's
nadie
it.
haga negocios con Rusia.
Nobody do businesses with Russia. And so then,
Claro que están todos
clearly,
rendidos
they're all surrendered before the power
hasta el último tiempo.
until the last time they turn on
Entonces
it.
dice, los
So
10
then it says
reyes
the 10 kings
estarán de acuerdo en
will be
entregarle a la
in
bestia el
agreement
poder
in
y la
giving the
autoridad que
power
tienen.
unto the beast and their authority. Iran,
Juntos a la guerra, dice.
and they shall go together into
Irán,
the war.
juntos a la guerra.
They shall go in Spanish, remember, is Iran, the very same word. They shall go.
Los señores y el rey de todos
Together
los
they will
reyes.
go
O sea,
to war
los
against
10
the Lamb,
reyes
but the Lamb will defeat them. So then
van a
these
ir
10
a
kings will
luchar, como dice acá,
go and fight, like it says here, against,
ciudad de
it doesn't say the city of the just,
¿Quién
but
lucha
against
contra el
whom?
Cordero? Acá
Against
ya
the Lamb.
nos dan información
Now they
para
give us
poder
an
identificar
information
que
to
la
be able
ciudad
to
de los justos
identify
en realidad
that the
es el
city
Cordero
of the
y
just
los
is
que
actually
están con el Cordero. Esa
the Lamb and those that are with the Lamb,
símbolo
in
de
a
la ciudad del Cordero.
symbol, the city of the
Entonces
Lamb.
dice, irán
So then it
juntos
says,
estos
and they
10
shall go
reyes
together, these 10
a la
kings,
guerra contra el
unto
Cordero.
war against the
El
Lamb.
Cordero los
But the
derrotará,
Lamb
porque
shall
él es
defeat them,
Señor
because
de
he is
todos
Lord
los
of
señores
lords
y el Rey de
and
todos
King
los
of
reyes.
all kings.
Y los que él ha llamado,
And
elegidos,
his
son
called
fieles y
and
estarán
chosen
con
and
él.
faithful ones will be with him.
Luego el ángel me dijo,
Then the angel said unto me, the waters where the prostitute is ruling represent masses of people of every nation and language. The scarlet beast and his 10 horns all hate the prostitute.
la desnudarán,
They will strip her naked,
comerán su carne,
eat her flesh,
quemarán con
burn
fuego lo que
her
quede de
remains
ella.
with fire.
Miren lo que dice que va a hacer con la
Notice what it
prostituta.
says that they'll do with the prostitute. The prostitute is precisely Israel. That is so clear.
¿Qué va a pasar con la prostituta?
What will take over with the prostitute in order for this prophecy to be fulfilled? It says, they shall
Comerán su carne,
strip her naked, eat her
quemarán
flesh,
con fuego
and burn with fire
quede de ella.
her
Pues
remains.
Dios, acá
For
está el
God,
originado de
here's
todas
the
las
originator of all the wars and
Pues
slaughters.
Dios
For
les
God
ha puesto un plan en la
has
mente.
put a plan in their minds. Don't believe that this is all because they wanted to do this
Dios
war.
les ha puesto un
God
plan en la
has
mente,
put a
un
plan in their
que llevará a
minds,
cabo
a
los
plan that will
propósitos
carry out
que
His
Dios
purposes,
estoy
which is
diciendo.
what I'm telling
Todas
you.
las guerras y todas las
All
cosas que
these
ocurren
wars and all the things that take place,
propósitos escritos.
they have a purpose that it's already written.
Ellos
They
estarán de acuerdo en entregarle
will be
a la
agreed
bestia
to give
escarlata la
their
autoridad
authority
que
to the
tienen, y
scarlet
así se
beast,
cumplirán las
and so the
palabras
words
de
of God will be
Dios.
fulfilled.
La mujer que viste
And
en
the
la
woman you
visión,
saw in this vision,
ahí está, esta mujer
there it is,
prostituta que
this
ven en el
prostitute
fuego.
woman
La
that they
mujer
set
que
on
viste
fire,
en la
and the
visión
woman that you saw in the
representa,
vision
no es una
represents,
mujer,
is not a woman,
representa
represents
la gran ciudad
the
que
great
reina
city
sobre
that
los reyes
rules
del mundo.
over the
¿Cuál
kings
es
of the
esa
world.
gran ciudad
And
que
what
reina
is that
sobre
great
los
city
reyes del mundo?
that reigns over the kings of the world? It is one soul, one. It is called
Estamos todos
Jerusalem.
gobernados por
We're all ruled by the Jews.
bancos son judíos,
The banks are Jewish,
los gobiernos son
the
judíos,
governments are Jewish,
todo lo que sea entertainment,
whatever that is the entertainment is
todo lo
Jewish,
que sea,
whatever might be
justicia es
justice is
judío, todo lo que
Jewish,
sea las noticias
whatever
y
might be
todo
the
lo que
news and
nos dan a comer,
the media, and they feed
todos
us,
los noticieros y
all
toda la información
they
de
feed us in
prensa
the
es judía.
newscast, and the press is all
Pero
Jewish,
llega un
but
tiempo,
time arrives in which
este poder,
this power is destroyed. So then,
¿tiene algo que ver esto que leímos de
does this have anything to do with Revelation 17? I hope so.
Espero que sí.
I
Es la
hope so.
misma historia
It is the
contada
same
diferente,
story
con
told
diferentes
in a
personas,
different
con
way with
diferentes
different
símbolos,
symbols, not
Y yo
characters,
espero que sí.
and I hope that it
Me
is.
daría mucha tristeza
I would be very
si veo
sad
Irán se
if I
rinde,
see that Iran
Estados Unidos
surrenders
dice,
and the U.S.
"Sí, acá
says,
seguimos gobernando,
yes, we'll
ahora vamos a
continue to
tomar
rule,
Irán, vamos a poner un
we'll take
gobierno
over
de
Iran and
Irán,
place
vamos
a democratic
a
and take Coca-Cola and McDonald's to Iran. I'd be very, very sad to say, no, nothing is fulfilled. these, even the fucking Iranians,
una inyección de adrenalina,
if they could get an adrenaline shot or testosterone shot and actually fight, I believe that the plan is the destruction of Israel and also the fall of the U.S. in order for these 10 kings that do not rule the world to take possession of the world, but for a brief moment, because they're going to face something else, which is already in the world now. So then we have 3 different characters. We have what? Those who rule the world, a power that will rule for a very short time, but will make that power fall, and we have the Messiah. And I believe that the 3 things, the 3 characters are now in the board, the game board. Question number 2. According to Revelation 6, 1 through 7, John says that the Lamb opened the first seal and the second seal. So then the Lamb is the main actor of these events. So then the Lamb is revealing or opens something that has been closed for many years. In the measure that he reveals the true happenings happening one after the other. Is that what it is? Well, it's all very symbolic, whatever has to do with the symbols and all the rest, but it does have something to do with it. It's not that the Lamb is the main character there, but rather it is precisely a symbol that shows that the Lamb is understanding, and that opens, it means that also opens the understanding to understand what these final events are. So then it's a question that I don't really understand as much. The main character is not the Lamb. The main character is the final events of the world, but that the Lamb has to be present to understand them, and in one way or another, for them to be fulfilled or to be opened. If you want to see it that way, that's fine. Both the main Lamb as what happens in the world too. But of course the main one is the Lamb, because supposedly he is in charge of opening them. It's not that he executes them. To open them also means to understand them. To understand them is what it means. So then let's see it from that point of view. But the question that I liked is the first one. Very good question. I had even forgotten, because I don't read the Book of Enoch anymore. It bored me. But it's good, that about the Medes and the Persians, which these angels, which is God, they're the angels of God. Like the angel says, how will we deceive them? Well then, to Iran, we're going to do it like this. That is what takes place here. And we'll raise it here, not just raise this, but in order to raise this, we have to raise Netanyahu and Trump to attack them. And so then to rise them from their thrones, and for the whole disaster to hit the fan. And I'm waiting for that cheap broad to fall, and the government that rules the world, which is the U.S. Even if I am a citizen of this country, the country is beautiful. I'm talking about the powers, not the country itself, but the powers that rule this world. And those powers also have to fall to give a step to the final part, which has to take place precisely during this last millennium of creation, to give way to the Messiah. Farewell. Proverbs chapter 7. And whether you like it or not, we're going to read from number 5 and 6 before 7. Why? Because it talks about the same thing. Maybe you get bored, or you might say once again, because it's exactly the same thing. You remember it, you treasure it. This is information that, why does it make us different from the rest? This information that I give you, it is what makes you different, or else you would be apart, you would be embraced to that prostitute. Proverbs chapter 5. My son, pay attention to my wisdom, listen carefully to my counsel, that thou mayest regard discretion, and that thy lips may keep knowledge. For the lips of a strange woman, what do we have? Here we have it, the strange woman. The strange woman, we define her as the religions, all of them. Ours, if you want to call it a religion, because a religion is meant a way of worship whatever, call it as you wish. But when we talk about the religion, it's all religions. Absolutely all, any form of religion here, all of them enter Muslims, Jewish, Christian, atheist, all of them here. For the lips of a strange woman drop as an honeycomb, whatever religion they distill honeycomb, and her mouth is smoother than oil, but her end is bitter as wormwood, sharp as a two-edged sword. Everything, every follower of false religions, which are all of them, they'll end up bad. Living or dead, they'll end up bad, because they're going to end up scammed, let down. No matter if they're good or evil, the time will come when they will have to face the Messiah. We start, just so you understand this, it's not that the Bible is evil and says, no, I'm not saying that they all have to die. No. Nobody deserves to die. No one deserves to die. Now, because of not having believed the truth and haven't believed a lie as if it were true, you'll receive the consequences in yourself, because to be let down is way too ugly. Once the people notice that they were deceived, that is already a punishment in itself. That's why it says, but her end is bitter as the wormwood and as a two-edged sword. Sharp. The end of every religion is bitter. Because it'll be like I said, the Muslims that believe in Allah, one sole God, all creator, where there's a paradise, where there's a way of machismo that is very highlighted. Men can have many women, just like the Jews, except that they took that out. But the highlighted way of their religion and all of their prophets, Muhammad and all the rest, when they notice that it was all a lie, it'll be very harsh for them, even if they want to accept the truth and all that. The process is death in itself, because if you believed the entire life in Allah and you would kneel 7 times a day in direction of the magical cube, little black cube, you would fast during Ramadan and went to all the mosques and all the rest, and then you notice that it was all a lie. Allah doesn't exist. There's no such thing as Allah. Muhammad was a lying prophet, a true prophet used by a lying God, and all the rest that is no good for your salvation. Then it'll be very harsh, very harsh. You have to recognize that Allah never existed. All that I practiced was a lie. So then that is the bitter end, like wormwood, bitter. The Jews, don't even mention it. Just imagine for them to say, this here is no good. And then later the Christians, they're waiting for Jesus to save them, and that they were asking Jesus to forgive them. And when the Messiah gets here, they say, everything that you asked Jesus to forgive you, and you thought he forgave you, he wasn't forgiving you anything, because he had no power to forgive. The cross which you would kneel before and you asked to be forgiven, it was not the place to be forgiven. You did something, go ask the person to forgive you. Right, go and repair your things. But God and the cross and the fucking bitch that bore you, nothing. So then it'll be very harsh for the Christians that are waiting for a rapture or the second coming of Christ. They'll say, no, that Christ is me. They'll say, no, that cannot be. You didn't die 2,000 years ago on a cross. They'll say, no, of course not. Absolutely not. No. Didn't die on a cross. The one that died on a cross is the Creator. They'll say, no, that cannot be. Cannot be. It's the Son of God. No, it was not the Son of God. It was Him, and He lied to top it off. He was the father of lies. He's no longer here. We want to see Him. No, He's no longer around. He left. He left. He left. He retired. He is resting. This is under new management. Just like that. Like a business that says under new management. Well, the earth will be under new management. Under new God. Under a new God. This is a new management of the earth. So then they'll say, no, no, no. You're the Antichrist. I love Jesus. No, no. You know what? Those people are going to kneel to pray to Jesus. Jesus, come. destroy this Satan. Satan has been personified because they're going to say that the Messiah is Satan. How do you convince those people? It'll be very difficult when they are convinced or killed by themselves or by other people and they're resurrected. They'll have a bitter sensation and a letdown to having been the most stupid idiots on the earth because they believed something that was a lie. So then there will be such a letdown so great of everything that I read to you in Isaiah, of all the texts that I said, wow, we believed in those gods, so then they're not gods. They're not gods. They're dead. They are dead. Out of my life. This is our new God. That is what they will recognize. But until they do, the process is a very big, huge spiritual death and sometimes physical. That's what talks about all that follow the strange woman. Her end is bitter like wormwood and sharp as a two-edged sword. Her feet go down to death. There's no turn of the page. Every church, every religion descends unto death. Her feet unto the real death. Because there's no life in the Bible. There's no life in the Quran. No life in anywhere except in the Messiah. Her feet descend unto death, and her steps lead unto death. Her ways are unstable. You should not know them. It says in the paths of God. It's just that you cannot search out. That's what the woman says. Her feet go down to death. Lest thou shouldst ponder the path of life. Her ways are movable. Hear me now, therefore, O ye children, and depart not from my words. Remove thy way from her. Of what? Of all religion. Remove thy way from her, and come not nigh the door of her house. Don't even get close to the churches. Look, at what level do we interpret this? Which clearly we understand. Lest thou give thine honor unto others, and thy years unto the cruel. Lest strangers be filled with thy wealth, and thy labors be in the house of a stranger. And thou mourn at last when thy flesh and thy body are consumed, and say, how I have hated instruction, and my heart despised reproof, and have not obeyed the voice of my teachers, nor inclined mine ear to them that instructed me. I was almost in all evil in the midst of the congregation and assembly. Right, of course, you notice that all of the congregation and religion, it was all the evil that they wanted to avoid. Drink waters out of thine own cistern, and running waters out of thine own well. We've already explained all that. Let thy fountains, and it's not a question like it reads in Spanish. I'll read it in the New Living Translation. It says, that's a bad translation also, because they're all asking, why would you disperse? Let's go to the Torres Amat. Do you remember this? That everyone translates it in whatever which way. You have to translate it this way. Let thy fountains be dispersed abroad. Instead of asking, why wilt thou disperse? No, no. Let thy fountains, which is the water of life, be dispersed abroad in rivers of waters in the streets. It says your sons and daughters. An explanation that is not correct. In the streets. Yes, of course. I had read this one, the Spanish RV in 1960, but the ancient one of 1862. Then they changed it. Proverbs 5:16 in the RV 1860. Let thy fountains be dispersed abroad. Let thy fountains be dispersed abroad in rivers of waters in the street. And what is that water? That water is wisdom, is instruction, which you will disperse into the whole world. But first, you have to keep it. Let them be only thine own. No, this is wrong. Let's see another one in the Torres Amat. Let thou be the only owner of them, and not strangers with thee. Exactly, you're the only owner of those waters that you have been gathering now, which will become a river of living water, but you're the owner. It's not the rest. They will have no honor or glory, the rest, except for those who have a river in themselves. The glory is ours and no one else's. Let our glory be ours forever, not even for God, for us. That is what you have to have very clear. It could be that my words may sound arrogant, but they're way too far from being arrogant. The glory is of the Messiah, for the Messiah, and only of the Messiah. The Messiah will never say the glory is for you. No. I will give you life and glory, but the glory is mine. That is what the Messiah will say. You gave me nothing to obtain glory. The glory is mine. Eternal glory of the Messiah. And the Messiah will not give of his own glory unto no one. So that they have glory, he will give no life. But not to say, I also am a Messiah. I also, no. Okay. 18. Let thy fountain be blessed, and rejoice with the wife of thy youth. Here we see another woman. We saw the strange woman, the adulteress or prostitute woman. It's all symbols of the same woman, the religions. And now we see a different woman, the woman of thy youth. But it's not the woman of your childhood. No. The woman that gives you youth. It's kind of like saying the water of thy youth. If I say the cistern of thy youth, the well of thy youth, it means that if I take that well, I take your youth. So the woman of thy youth doesn't mean the woman which I got married when I was young. No, that's not what it means. That's not what the text says. It says the woman of thy youth. It means the one that gives you youth. The one that will give you life. The woman of your life. The woman of your life is the woman that gives you life. A symbol. That woman that gives you life is evidently the one that is giving you information in the water. Now, it's the eternal truth. That's what it says. Rejoice with the wife of thy youth or life. Let her be as the loving hind and pleasant roe. Let her breast satisfy thee at all times, and be thou ravished always with her love. And why wilt thou, my son, be ravished with a strange woman? Why will you go to the other churches and embrace the bosom of a stranger? Two women, one way. Oh, yes? Two women, only one path. Why, my son, wilt thou be ravished by a strange woman, embrace the bosom of a stranger? For the ways of a man are before the eyes of Yahweh, and he pondereth all his doings. What does this mean? What sounds to me is that I haven't explained it to you before. It sounds like predestination, absolutely. It says, for the ways of the man are before the eyes of Yahweh, and he pondereth all his doings. If he pondereth all his doings, is that they all do go down the path that they have to. If you belong to the strange woman, you cannot come out of her. If you get to know the woman of life and you join her, it's not your decision. It was the decision of the one that does all the doings of men. That's why I read this text, and I don't give too much value, but it talks about predestination. It says Yahweh designed everything. Some go with that woman, and others go with this one. And you would say, then why the fuck did he write this if it's all decided? He's telling you the story of this, which what I'm reading to you. Right. Why do we choose then if he chose for us? And he makes us think in the way that he wants us to think, and we don't have any decision. And I'm sure that we don't have a decision. I'm sure of that. We don't have a decision. I fought a lot with that we can't decide. I didn't want to let go of the power of deciding. It cost me, because we all want to feel like we are autonomous, and that if we're here, it's because I want to be here, and if I'm over there, it's because I want to be over there, and I become responsible of that. What if even what we think that what I want in this one, that is already induced by someone else? Judas did not want to betray, and he ended up betraying. Balaam did not want to bless, and he ended up blessing. So then we don't do what we want, but what they make us do. We do agree with that, right? Those are two clear examples, and I'm sure that Cain did not want to kill. God obligated him to kill Abel. You would say, why do you say so many stupid? Because, right, on a permanent basis, my mind because I want to do that, but let's go further back. Why do we want that? Why do we have the desire? Why do all of a sudden we want to do it and there's no chance? I'm sure that Cain killed Abel due to a command of Yahweh, because if he is the assassin from the very beginning, it is more murderous than Cain, and of course he incited him, and he even told him before, careful, that sin is at hand, and that is written by Moses. We don't know what he actually said. Exactly. That is what happens. That is why God made a great feast with Abel and said, oh, the sacrifices, and he's not accepted. Of course, the murderer of Abel is Yahweh, not Cain. Of course, as long as we think and we decide everything, and then we don't understand the Bible. It's kind of like, until you knew me, you thought that the guilt of eating was of Adam and Eve. They were the accursed disobedient of God. No! God tempted them and God obligated them to eat. God obligated them. Eve would not leave there until she ate one way or another. And if he had to force her psychologically, he would do so. But Eve and Adam, they had to eat. I tell it to you right now. So then what difference is there between Cain and Abel? What difference is there? None. None. So then, our free will, it's almost non-existent. And you might say, so then why the fuck are we reading this if we're already listening here? Because this is the story of our existence. This is telling you precisely that there are people that hear and they come to a place, and there are people that also listen and they go to a different place. But you have to know how it works. It's ugly to get to the end of the game and then later find out that you were manipulated. I'm telling to you now that we're being manipulated. Now. Before the game ends. Now. If you stay, it's because you're being manipulated. And if you leave, it's also because you're being manipulated. Do whatever you do. It's already decided what will happen where you are. For that very reason, it's good that it is written. I read it and I accept it. And his own iniquity will grab the wicked, and he will be retained by the courts of his sin. He shall die without instruction, and in the greatness of his folly he shall go astray. But who placed that insanity? Yahweh did. I'll give you an example. Very easy, very Babylonian. I'll place a very Babylonian example. Now you'll understand why I said a Babylonian example. Let's suppose that I am a crazy scientist and I'm manipulating bugs. That's why it's a Babylonian effect. So then I grab a bug and I isolate it, and I place certain components on that bug for that, so that when a person obtains it, they would die when they get bit by this bug. We know about the whole story, but it's a Babylonian example. So then I create a lethal bug that will kill you in 10 years. Let's say 10 years. It'll take 10 years to kill you, but it'll kill you for sure. And I give the bug the possibility that as soon as you're in close contact with someone else, they get bit too. So then I am the crazy scientist, and I make that bug. I make that bug and I call it, I don't know, whatever, Trump. Trump 26. Bug Trump 26. I grab that bug Trump 26 and I let it loose in an airport, like in the movies. And right, in an airport they go everywhere and they get everyone bit. And so it spreads throughout the whole world. And so then they notice that the people that have that sting of the bug, they can avoid contact with those that have not been stung. And so then those that are not stung, they start to protect themselves in whatever which way you can think. Just like the lunar voyages that we never went to, and so then wars begin because people start to kill those that are stung, and so then they start to kill. They try to kill even the last one that has been stung to preserve a human part that is not stung. What a beautiful movie I'm showing you here. So then, a whole slaughter of a meat market, those that are stung against those that are not stung, that has been happening already. Like the cup of wine of 19, people would not let you enter their houses because you don't believe in the protection and things like that. What if it had been made like a bug, that the one I'm telling you now, in this science fiction movie that I'm telling you? No matter if you're the father, the mother, the uncle, you won't get close to them. That's it. You understand what I'm saying, right? Okay. Now, when even the last human has died because of wars and fights and all, one starts to evaluate the guilt between all of them, because many killed. There was people that were innocent. They killed because they had been stung. The others hadn't. Who is to blame in the end of it all? Whom can you blame? Only the one that made the bug. We see it just easily, right? Without any room for doubt. Or is there some doubt? The one to blame for all the deaths and the wars afterward, and all the problems and the violence and the human nature, even the war against themselves and wickedness amongst themselves, and to eliminate each other, who is to blame of it all? We as human beings would blame the one that made the bug, yes or no? Okay, who created death on this earth? How can it be that the rest of the people don't see that? I actually, in this point, haven't repeated it so much and chewed it so much and speaking it with you. I don't know what happens to you. But Yahweh is the greatest assassin way past of what we could ever think. He made up the old age, which is a bug that kills us little by little. But are we to blame that we want to protect ourselves and save ourselves, that we kill others to obtain more life? Of some that even kill kids to obtain the blood? No one is to blame for anything except for the one that created all this. It was not Adam and Eve, it was him. The one that said, accursed ye shall be. For this that you did, accursed the earth shall be. The animals and everything will turn out accursed. There's only one to blame. That's when some of you may be surprised, and some leave. They're still leaving because they say Christian attacks God way too much. They don't have a fucking idea of their creator. You don't have the least idea. You still have not grasped that we still have life. We breathe air and we think. It is the moment to say no to the creator. Not when you're dead. You will not have a chance anymore. Now is the time in which we think. That I'm giving you information that you read, and to say this, the entire blame of every wickedness done by men is the originator of them all, which is God. But you have to understand that so clear like water. And I say that to you because certain people leave, because they believe that I criticize God. I don't criticize God. I show you how God is. I'm not criticizing God. To criticize God is saying, I don't think this is correct. No. I'm telling you, God is this. Our Creator is to blame for everything. Of every sin that has ever been made in the world, God is to blame. For that reason, in the year 2024, during Yom Kippur, we executed a rite blaming Yahweh for every sin, of every evil, of everything that has ever taken place on this earth, and curses blamed it on Him, taking the blame off of every human being and taking it off of every human entirely, because Yahweh is to blame for everything. Just like if I had created a bug that killed all of humanity and made him go crazy, and everything that happens to human beings, the one to blame is him. And if to that we add all of the lies that he gave us, aside from the religions, the things that he made us do, circumcision, when it's laughable. If you gotta be circumcised, the foreskin of your penis, because that is a sign of purification, that's to laugh up until today. The people believe that up until today. They think that it's a sign. That's what I'm telling you. It'll be so painful and lethal to open your eyes in that time. If now you don't understand the truth, which you won't understand, once you understand it, actually you're going to want to die for your truth, because I can assure you, the real Christians, not the bench warmers, the real Christians that pray, that believe, that have enormous faith in that, they will not accept the human Messiah, because they have been programmed to believe that that is the Antichrist. And if they die for his Jesus, because the top part of Jesus says that whomever that loses his life for me will find it, they are programmed. Like I was, all those, and they have the example of all the disciples that died for Jesus. So then for them it is an honor, and it'll be an honor to die for him, fighting against the Antichrist, even if you have the best of intentions to give them life, that they understand the truth, and if you try to explain to them and open their eyes of who God is, they will say, you are not the Messiah, you are Satan concealed in a human being, you're against God, we believe in Christ that gave his life for me, and I will give my life for him. That's it, it's over. And how will this story end? By dying, them dying. But it ends not that the Messiah has to kill them, they'll kill each other. Because amongst themselves they don't have all one thinking. It's not only just one thinking against the Messiah. There's so many amongst them, and amongst them they say, it says that their hand will rise against the other. And who is in all that thinking? In other words, who will end up making them go insane? Answer me, please. Yahweh! Yes, of course. Of course, Yahweh. Yahweh will cause for them to kill each other. Because it says that Yahweh placed that in their hearts. I just read it in the Bible, because Yahweh placed that in their hearts. Well, Yahweh also places in their hearts that they don't accept that, because they have to die for their truth. And then he's going to place in their heart to fight them against each other, and they end up killing each other. That is the story that'll take place, because it is the final story. That's why it's so important that we read what will take place, and that the strange woman has no other choice than death. That's why it says that that's why there are so many chapters in this preparation of the Messiah, which is the book of Proverbs, that actually it is lethal. The rest of religions, I felt it, that lethalness. I felt it because when you're Christian, you actually want to die for Jesus. I, as an Adventist of the seventh day, they said that there's no greater honor than to die for Jesus. In fact, my prophet Ellen G. White saw in heaven people dressed in white and other people dressed in white with a red ribbon below. And she asked Jesus, she was walking with Jesus, and said, Lord Jesus, why do they have those white robes but with a red ribbon? Why that difference? So then Jesus looked at her and said, look, Ellen, they have the honor of wearing that special robe with that red ribbon because they gave their life for me. I was brought up with that, thinking that there's no greater honor than to give your life for Christ. How will you convince the Christians of anything else? You won't convince them. the easiest to convince are the bench warmer Christians that don't care about anything, that they don't even know about the prophecies, that just go because of a club, and the atheists, and the flat earthers, and people that are predestined to listen. But the Christians, no. The Muslims, no. The Jews, no. No, not them. So then they will end up badly. That is the strange woman. That's why there are so many chapters about the strange woman. 6, my son. If thou be surety for thy friend, if thou hast been stricken with the hand of a stranger, thou art snared with the words of thy mouth. Thou art taken with the words of thy mouth. Do this now, my son, and deliver thyself when thou art come in the hand of thy friend. Go, humble thyself, and make sure thy friend. Give not sleep to thine eyes, nor slumber to thine eyelids. Deliver thyself as a roe from the hand of the hunter, and as a bird from the hand of the fowler. This is very good and all that about not becoming a co-signer. But actually, the truth is that you say, but this advice is out of place, right? And what we're studying studying the strange woman and the woman of the youth of life. And then to put an advice out of nowhere like that, that's fine. I'll take it. Yeah, it's fine. But I've already explained to you, in case you didn't understand, that we can understand it of not being a co-signer and all that, which is true. But the truth behind all this is, once again, the same thing. If you have given your word to Jesus that you'll follow him, if you gave your word to a certain Jesus that you'll give your life for him, the life for your church, that you'll place your life for the gospel, to be an example and light unto the world, go and undo all your promises with them, just like Leslie and I did. Take my name out. I'm no longer an Adventist. I am no longer that. I could give a flying fuck. If you don't do that, you are already grasped. To go with Jesus, you're another follower of his, and you'll give your life for him. So then, if we use it in that context and quickly come out of that commitment, I have no commitment with no church, no commitment whatsoever, none. That is a covenant with the devil or with God, which is exactly the same thing. That covenant with the devil or with God is the same thing. Abraham signed a contract with God, or the Satan, same thing. Moses too. Everyone has a covenant with God. Don't ever do a covenant with God. Do a covenant with me, which is a lot better. But fulfill it. But fulfill the covenant with the eternal truth. Don't do a covenant with the devil, and if you did, undo it. And notice that it's a blood covenant, mind you. The Christians know that they have a blood covenant. The precious blood of Jesus. They have a covenant of blood. Break that covenant. In that aspect, this, fabulous. Go to the ant, thou sluggard, consider her ways and be wise, which having no guide, overseer, or ruler, provideth her meat in the summer, and gathereth her food in the harvest. Perfect. I already told you that I do not compare nature, but now see it from a different point of view. Look at the ant, O sluggard, consider her ways and be wise. What does it say about the ant? She has no overseer, guide, or ruler. She doesn't have the God that all the rest have. Notice that it says that she works without God. Follow the game of what is written. They don't have the Lord Jesus behind her. No, it is a free agent that gets her food, works for her own community, and takes her food and like water for her own well. We take that conclusion. That's wise. I think that's perfect. We are like that ant. And I don't like the comparison with animals. We are like that ant. We don't have a captain. We don't have a Lord, a divine Lord. We are preparing ourselves for ourselves like a community, and we keep what we're keeping. In that aspect, I think it's perfect. We don't work for any church. Oh, sluggard, how long wilt thou sleep? When wilt thou arise out of thy sleep? Yet a little sleep, a little slumber, a little folding of thy hands to sleep, so shall thy poverty come as one that traveleth. Okay, taking out all the poverty and all the physical part of what the literality of the text says, taking the literal part of it, actually, if we do not accumulate wisdom now, in us, we'll be poor, like the 5 foolish virgins. Like them, we're going to be left. That is what I can draw in conclusion. Now it's the time of obtaining wisdom, and it's got nothing to do with working hard. No, not at all. It is about wisdom now. 12. A naughty person, a wicked man, walketh with froward mouth. So then who is the naughty and wicked person? He's called, he has a name. I've already told you his name is Yahweh. Yahweh is the wicked man. Yahweh is the naughty person. Why? Because he never stops lying. It's all lies with him. He winketh with his eyes, he speaketh with his feet, he teacheth with his fingers, frowardness is in his heart, he deviseth mischief continually. Exactly, this is what we see. He soweth discord, absolutely. Therefore shall his calamity come suddenly, suddenly shall he be broken without remedy. The calamity per se of Yahweh comes suddenly, which we also call rest. 6 things doth Yahweh hate, yet even are the abomination unto him. The 6 laws that have to do with the mirror of him, everything that I'm going to read is a characteristic of Yahweh. A proud look, of course. A lying tongue, father of lies, and hands that shed innocent blood. An assassin from the very beginning, an homicide from the very beginning. An heart that deviseth wicked imaginations, always thinking, how will I kill him? A great flood, this and that, a war. I'm going to make this one betray me. He doesn't want to betray you. Well, I'm going to make him betray me. And the whole world will hate him. Maybe Judas was the best of all the disciples, but is hated by all the Christians except for me. I always told you, Judas, I think, was the best disciple of all of them. All of them. But what happens? He's hated by all of them. Feet that be swift in running to mischief. Yahweh runs to do evil. There is no evil that doesn't come through him. A false witness that speaketh lies, falser than him. His whole witness is a lie of how to save you. Complete lie. If you do this, he says, and you'll be saved. That's a lie. They all died. And then if you believe in the Lord Jesus Christ with all your heart, then you'll be saved. You and your house. That's a lie. A lie. A lie. 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 A false witness that speaketh lies. And he that soweth discord among brethren. He doesn't bring peace into the world, but war, discord. To put a father against mother and sons against... I could give a fuck. To give discord, dissension. 20. So then those 7 things is what Yahweh is. And of course, we see it in a human being. We see that in a human being, and for us it is filthy. But no one sees filthy if you reflect it with God. We do. It is very important, or else you cannot be a Messiah. The Messiah is disgusted by everything that Yahweh has done, or else you cannot be a Messiah, mind you, or else we don't need a Messiah. The Messiah wants to change Yahweh forever, delete Yahweh from this earth, or else you cannot be a Messiah. If you're on behalf of Yahweh, then Yahweh himself says, no. If you're on my behalf, it is such an idiot just like me, and no. I'm looking for someone that does things well. If someone says, if I worship you, well, oh, no. Next. The next one says, well, I don't know you a lot, but I'm not this guy. No, you don't know me, not you either. Another one says, I obey you in everything, even less, you'll be the rest. Who's next? I hate you. Why? Because you're a son of a bitch. You lie, you steal, you're the father of lies, the biggest assassin. I'm disgusted by you. I want to be precisely all the contrary that you are. Because I fear of becoming one day what you are. I hate everything, your whole way that you have been acting these whole 6,000 years. The form that you see of your face here is disgusting to me. Your rights are disgusting. Your religion is disgusting. And I tell it to your face, you're a true son of 1,000 bitches. You really should pay for every single thing that has ever taken place on earth. Every death, every sickness, every suffering, every violation. All that is your fault because you begotten it. Every pain that every woman had by giving birth, you have to feel it. Every time a person grows old and dies and they suffer because they're old, you have to become old, an old prune until you disappear, and then you become, since you're indestructible, you have to go through all that because you're a monster. You killed people little by little. You poisoned us. You deceived us. You made us stupid, stupefied us, and then you laughed at us by saying, I close your ears and your eyes and make you stupid. Harden your heart so you don't understand, so that I shouldn't save you. It wasn't enough. You send us lying prophets, one more of a son of a bitch than the other, and then you came in person and you didn't tell us the truth. You lied to us. You said that you were the Son of God, you lying son of a fucking bitch. You said, he that believeth in me hath eternal life, and all that, those that believed, those that are closer to you, they all died. Where is your fucking eternal life? You don't have it. God, you son of a fucking bitch. But you're the creator, that you are. You're the most despicable person. And filthily disgusting you. That is what I think about you, Yahweh. How about that? So then Yahweh says, you're my son. You are my son. You're the only one that I can give the earth to. Because if you did not understand the way I acted on this earth, I could not give you the earth. If you were to like me, my attitude in something, I can't give it to you. I just can't give it to you. It has to be exactly contrary to what I did, because this has to change. It was a stage that I showed that face and I acted in that way precisely for the new God to ever act that way. Only one that you told me all the things to my face, and I forgot something, and I completely believe in you, that you're the creator. Unfortunately, you're the creator. You have power to kill me. I could give a fuck. But that and all, I hate you. I detest the way that you have acted, you son of a fucking bitch. And the fucking bitch that bore you. He would say, I love you. You understood it all. That's it, it's over. Take the earth. You've understood it all. You've understood it all. How does that text say? Clearly, your throne, O God, forever and ever. You hated the wickedness, in other words, me. And you loved justice. That's it, it's over, it's clear. I reveal it to you like that, like the way it is written. You hated me, and you loved justice, something that I never showed, because God never showed a soul justice, ever. You'll never find any justice in all of the Bible. You won't find it, but even to his most dedicated collaborators, Moses wanted to enter the promised land, and he says, look at it. You'll die today, and I'll kill you. Look at it from afar. What a son of a bitch! What a son of a bitch! That's the way it is in every aspect. God is not a God of justice, and he says so. So then, at some point in time, a group of people says, where's the group of justice? He says, okay, I'll send you the group of justice. Not me. It's not me, but I'll send it to you. So then, the only one that he tells sit in the throne of God is the one that has hated Yahweh. He hates abhors Yahweh, but he understands very clearly that he exists, who he is, and how he acts. It's not a person that says, no, I don't believe in God. No. It's no good. I could give a fuck about God. No, it's no good. The only one that's good is the one that abhors every act that God has ever done, and he has everything pending. Every single thing that has ever taken place to humans, every death, Every time that I grow old, and you too, and all those that have died of old age, all that, God is to blame of everything. Whatever they stole, violated you, raped you, that they exploit us, deceive us, He is to blame. Yeah, I can continue. I can go on. So then, going back to the subject. Keep, my son, thy father's commandment. In other words, that of the eternal truth. And forsake not the law of thy mother. Bind them continually upon thine heart, and tie them about thy neck. Bind them, write them. When thou goest, it shall lead thee. When thou sleepest, it shall keep thee. And when thou awakest, it shall take with thee. For the commandment, that of the Messiah, none of God or the prophet of God, is a lamp. And the law is light. And reproofs of instruction are the way of life. To keep thee from the evil woman, once again. Always, all these chapters, good woman, bad woman. The bad woman, that bad woman is the wife of Yahweh. Every religion. I want you to understand that. He, by being the wickedest being that exists, at least remember something that I told you. The face that He shows us, that is the creative face for us. The way He actually is, someday we'll see. But the face that He shows us, that Yahweh that He shows us as a creator, is that wickedness in its purest form. Now, the wife that He has, He divorced her, tortured her, and killed her. And afterwards, He made more children be born unto her, and is still as the same wife. Everyone that touched the wife only has one promise: death. The guy kills his wife. All those who touch his wife or get with her or have a relation with his wife, He'll also kill them, because that's why He starts to say this. To keep you from the evil woman, from the flattery of the tongue of a strange woman. Lust not after her beauty, lust not after any religion, the beauty of the religions in thine heart. Neither let her take thee with her eyelids, for by means of a whorish woman a man is brought to a piece of bread. And the adulteress will hunt for the precious life of the man, even if I lie for the precious life of the man. And why Solomon wrote that way? Let's go past that. What the message means, the hidden message that only we understand. The religions hunt the precious soul of the man, whether it's male or female, because that soul is hunted by the wife of Yahweh, which is such accursed as he is, and by being accursed, she will die. If you touch the wife, you get with the wife, you become a part of the wife, that is your end, to die. Can a man take fire in his bosom and his clothes not be burned? What does he say? That he is fire that is consuming fire? Can a man take fire in his bosom and his clothes not be burned? No, of course not. He will make you burn. He'll make you burn. Can one man go upon hot coals and his feet not be burned? So is he that goeth into his neighbor's wife, but is not his neighbor. This is not at a literal level. This is at a level that is prophetic. Spiritually, that woman is of God. And when we get with God's wife, we become a part of the destiny of God's wife, which is death. So that is the way of a man that goeth into his neighbor's wife. Whosoever toucheth her shall not be innocent. Men do not despise a thief if he steal to satisfy his soul when he is hungry. But if he is found, he shall restore sevenfold. He shall give all the substance of his house. But whoso committed adultery, to commit adultery with the wife of Yahweh. And Paul says so. Who are we? The church is the wife of Yahweh. We are His wife. Exactly. Crazy maniac in menopause, an assassin. Completely. And it'll become, when she loses her territory, become crazy. So then all this related with what I'm talking about, but he that committeth adultery is a fool. A wound and dishonor shall he get, and his reproach shall never be wiped away. Those are the jealousy of Yahweh. For jealous is the rage of a man. Therefore he will not spare in the day of vengeance. The vengeance of Yahweh is when these people fight against themselves. Away from the Messiah. He will not regard any ransom. There's no ransom. Neither will he rest content, though thou givest many gifts. All this is what it says in the real sense, taking the cover off. It's talking about that you should not meddle with the married wife of Yahweh. If you're part of her, you have the same destiny as her, and Yahweh is the one that's enforced. And he kills everything. He kills his wife, and he'll kill all the lovers of his wife and whoever's there. That we had understood. Chapter 7. Now we start off with chapter 7. And we're going to read chapter 7 a little bit, but it's still talking about the same thing. And chapter 8 also is fantastic. But chapter 7 has some text that we used in 2011. You'll remember, those who have been with us in 2011, expecting a Christ that would never come. He could have never come. We went over that, waiting for a being that did not exist. The coming of Christ. The Christ were we. And we were coming, and we didn't notice of who we were, but we had to go through that experience. Good thing we went through it. Imagine all the Christians that there's no way of convincing them, and they're waiting for that Christ in one way or another. We already went through that experience, and for us, it already makes us smile, that experience does. But what all the Christians get when they notice that Christ will not come to look for them is death. For them, Proverbs 7, we start off. My son. Already, this is the text of the invitation, but I'm reading it in the Spanish RV 1960. My son, keep my reasons. They're so important. Everything that I talk to you about is reason. It is my reasoning. It's nothing other than my reasoning. It is not the reasoning of Moses. It is my reasoning. My son, keep my reasoning, and lay up my commandments with thee. You might say, but you don't give us any commandments. Yeah, I told you a whole bunch of them. For example, we must hate Yahweh with all our heart. What Yahweh is, who has been shown in the Bible. If you have love for Yahweh, thinking that Yahweh has good things for us, or he has done good things for us, you have not understood anything. That is a commandment, for example. You shall hate the proceeding of Yahweh with all your heart. I'm really not writing, I'm just playing. But it's just so you understand that there are commandments. There's a whole reasoning behind it. My son, keep my reasoning and lay up my commandments with thee. Keep my commandments and live. And my law as the apple of thine eye. I never understood what the apple of thine eye was. And I used to say when I was little, and in Spanish, the apple of thine eye is called the girl of thine eyes. I didn't know what the girl of thine eyes was. And I imagined that for a father, his little girl was something very beautiful. I even got to think, when I was younger, I used to read this text, that the girl of thine eye was as if to say, when you have a daughter, you see her as a queen. She's the little girl of his eyes. You understand what I'm saying? The love of his eyes. The baby of his eyes. It's got nothing to do with that, what the text says. Everything, because in the Spanish language is a dog shit and it's ill translated. Never understood what the little girl of the eyes. It is the pupil of the eye. In the Spanish language. And the pupil is also a girl. It's just that pupil, I understand what a pupil is. You know what a pupil is? Taking the eyes. What is a pupil? What is it? It is like a student. Is that she's an intern somewhere, right? That is what we say. They're a pupil, they're a student, like in an intern. But I clearly would differentiate in my mind a pupil to the pupil of the eyes. But a little girl, I would get confused. And the word little girl, which is apple of thine eye in English, it also means bitch in Spanish. Don't ask me why. But it says whore, bitch, girl. Because the word bitch was girl before. It's just that they changed it. They changed it and they said, well, let's leave bitch for this and girl for something else. But it was left as girl and pupil. And when I read in the Bible that these idiots say that the girl of your eyes, I'd never understood what is the girl of your eyes. I told the truth. Maybe I was an ignorant fool. Maybe all you understood was the pupil of your eyes. The pupil? Oh, you see, I didn't. No one ever explained to me that the pupil is called a girl in Spanish, the apple of thine eye. Maybe I was the only one that didn't know. I never heard to say, hey, the girl of thine eyes. No, it's the pupil. I would never have called it girl in Spanish, like the apple of thine eye. Now, taking that out. How is it that it says, keep my commandments and live, and my law as the girl of your eyes, or apple of thine eye? The Messiah, the law of the Messiah, you have to keep it as the pupil of your eyes. How do you keep the pupil of your eyes? Very carefully, you close your eyes before anything, you flinch, you protect your eyes for anything. What it means is, because once I understand it, not now, but when I'm studying this, that when the commands that the Messiah gives, even if you don't see him as commands, which are his reasoning and all the rest, it's the only thing that can make you see. Because if you lose the apple of thine eyes, you can no longer see. How would you be left if the apple of thine eyes is broken and it no longer works? You become blind. So then it has to do with the eyesight that you have. So then the Messiah says, what I give you is just as important as the eyes that you have to see, because what I give you are spiritual eyes. Take care of them as your real eyes, or else you cannot see. Take care of them because they're so important to see spiritually, just as your eyes to see physically. Barely then did I understand it, why it is compared with the girl of thine eyes, because what does that have to do with anything? You also take care of your brother, you take care of your hands, your genitals, very careful with those. But the girl of your eyes, the apple of thine eye, it has to do with seeing. It is marvelous, the relation, or else it would make no sense. You take care of all your body. It has to do with seeing. If the words of the Messiah are to see, if you don't take care of them, you are left blind. I could then say that the words of the Messiah are the girl of your eyes, the apple of thine eyes, the capacity of seeing. When they ate of the wisdom, what did Yahweh say in the form of the serpent? Eat this and your eyes will be opened, right? How were they? They were closed. So then wisdom does what? It opens your eyes to see. Okay, so then it says, keep my commands and live, and my law as the apple of thine eye, so that you can see. Bind them upon thy fingers, write them upon the table of thine heart, whatever it might be. Your heart has a tablet, and you can write things on it. Obviously, this might be symbolic, doesn't matter. There's something in the heart that is related with what we feel. It is your possession. If it is your possession, if the heart is related with the possessions that we have, then let me tell you something. Your most sacred possession that you ever had in this life is the eternal truth. because therein resides what will take place in eternity. Your most sacred possession is the eternal truth. If your most sacred possession is the eternal truth, where should it be kept? In your heart, because it is the most sacred property that you'll ever have. The one that will give you the most reward, the one that will make a river of water come therefrom. There's nothing else. This is not the greatest possession. No, of course not. The entire Bible, not that either. The prophets, even less. Yahweh, absolutely out of the equation. The most sacred, as in turn of possessions that you will have in your life. It's not that what you will inherit of your fathers, what you have earned or you stole. No, none of that. Your greatest possession that will give you the best reward for all eternity is called the eternal truth. Then, of course, it has to be in the heart where all the possessions go, in one way or another, in one way or another. Don't ever lose it, because if you lose it, you lose your heart. Bind it to your fingers, write them upon the table of thine heart. 4. You might say, why does he insist all this? We've been studying all these chapters. It's chapter 60. Well, yeah, 60 chapters dedicated to Proverbs, and we're barely in chapter 7. You have to repeat my commandments, my words. Yeah, we have to repeat. Because you have not understood how important they are. You still have not comprehended the level of importance they have in your life. For that very reason, I did not design this book. It was designed by the Creator, and it's preparing precisely the replacement for him. This preparation of replacement of God is important to understand. Because once you understand the value that the eternal truth has, once you understand it, and you take possession of the eternal truth, you will give it the value that it actually has. And that's why you will not ever share that glory. The eternal truth has glory. That right now, it might seem like nothing. It might seem like a shame. What do you believe in? From some crazy guy that says that God is evil? What do you believe? That you're the Messiah? I mean, you should be bound in a crazy house. What do you believe aside from all that? That the nuclear bombs don't exist? I mean, you're crazy. What do you believe? That the earth is flat? I mean, you guys really are crazy. Absolutely insane. Where are you living? In what time? What do you believe, that we didn't go to the moon? I mean, you guys are idiots. Anti-system. What do you believe, that this here is no good to protect you? Ah, no. You're anti-system. You should be liquidated. What do you believe, that the people of the high priest are dog shit and it's all produced by conflicts? I mean, you're completely insane. Like that stupid doctor. The good thing he died. That German dog shit. I think his name was Hammer. You're just as crazy as him. You should be bound. You do not belong to our society. Yes, now we are, let's say, ashamed. Better said, because your family would laugh if you arose and said, you know what? All of you Christians that believe in Christ, I am the Christ. They'll say, what? What? This guy? Oh no, they're going to blame me. What is this guy listening to? This group of fanatics? They're a little tiny group like that. Well, so little like that it is the greatest inversion that has ever existed. So then, it depends on you, or the program that Yahweh wants, or the predestination, whether you are a part of an associate, an active associate of the movement, the greatest and most powerful that the world will have. Movement. Now is the time to be a part of this. Now is the moment. Oh, be an active associate, not a sympathizer. We don't want any sympathizers. We don't want you to sympathize with us. We want you to be active associates. Moving on. We begin with the good woman, which is the eternal truth. Say unto wisdom, this is a beautiful woman, the woman of your youth that you should love, that you should caress. Say unto wisdom, thou art my sister. And unto intelligence, thou art my kinswoman of blood, that is. Thou art my sister. In the New Living Translation, it says, love wisdom like a sister. Make insight a beloved member of your family. 5. Let them protect you from an affair with an immoral woman. Why do you have to love this woman? Why do you have to love her? Because it gives you many examples that it could be your bride, your sister, your kinswoman, no matter how you want to see it. It's your woman, the woman of your youth, the woman of your life. Why is it so important, that woman is? To keep you from the strange woman and the foreign woman that flatter it with her words. So then the woman, there's something that I understand that the text says behind. It's not explicit, but I can comprehend it clearly. Every time that Solomon is speaking in this text about the strange woman, she's saying that she's prettier, that she's more seductive, that she's more sexy, that her mouth is like honey, that she has more money, that she has a precious house that we're about to see. As a counter of the woman wisdom, which might seem that to your eyes that she's not so pretty, that at your eyes she's not so sexy, that at your eyes she's not so desirable, that at plain sight she has no money, or else it would not say that the other one is sexy, beautiful, seductive. You understand what I'm saying? It is a message that is very implicit. That wisdom is not so astonishing like the other one, because the people go to the other one, not this one precisely. Say unto wisdom, thou art my sister, and unto intelligence, call her your kinswoman, that they may keep thee from the strange woman and from the stranger which flattereth with her words. For at the window of my house I looked through my casement, and beheld among the simple ones. Simple ones, the word petit, which is stupid, the idiots. It's just that the people don't add the word idiot because it's a word that is too offensive. They put simpletons, but it's very different than being an idiot. But it is considered between the synonyms of simple ones, the word petit in the Hebrew language. And I saw an idiot, is what he's saying. And I beheld among the simple ones, I discerned among the youths a young man void of understanding. In other words, a void of understanding. In other words, everyone. Passing through the street near her corner, and he went away to her house in the twilight, in the evening, in the black and dark. In other words, what he's saying is not true. He didn't see anything, Solomon. But he's saying this for us because it must have been a direct inspiration of Yahweh, because if it's at night, he cannot see it, even more in the time of Jerusalem. To top it off, in the language, the Hebrew language, the Jews say he thinks he saw his son because there are certain words that makes it sound like that young man that I knew was his son. I don't know. It's not translated so, but the Jews understand it like he saw a kinsman of his, maybe a son. They had many sons, but no one knows anything what happened with his sons, because the kingdom was divided when he died. Very well. So then he says that he saw. But this is actually, it is a story, clearly, a parable, a metaphor, so that we understand a truth that's so great that we have been understanding already, but I don't know why, or I understand why, but I want to insist. Yahweh is very insistent in our instruction, because this is an instruction of Yahweh for he that can see it, for kings, for us, for the Messiah. So then, in this allegory or parable or metaphor, he says, and I saw through my window, and I looked through the casement and beheld among the simple ones, and I discerned among the youths a young man void of understanding, passing through the street near the corner, and he went the way of her house, in the twilight, in the evening, in the black and dark night. Very bad translation, all this, because you see how it says, when it was twilight in the evening, in the black of darkness. When was it? It's 4 times. In Hebrew, it's a lot more clear. When the sun had already set and it was already dark. It is very clear. I don't know why they translated so badly. The Hebrew language is such dog shit. It's all dog shit. On purpose. By design. It's all by design. He didn't give us anything coherent, Yahweh did. 10. And behold, there met him a woman with the attire of a harlot and subtle of heart. Solomon saw that. In the Torah Shemah it says, and behold, there met him a woman with the attire of an whore, and that was out to hunt souls. That's good. That's a good one. That was out to hunt the precious soul of the man. The speaker like a street talker. I like that one. Who goes out to hunt souls? You tell me. Think. You already know the answer. Who was the one that goes out to hunt souls? The churches. Precious souls for whom? For Christ. They want to take the souls to Christ. How many souls have you earned? They ask each other. Ooh, the cat is going to knock everything off of the table. The churches are hunting for souls. They want to earn souls for Christ. It's just that they don't know that Christ is Yahweh and He's wicked. So then when they hunt souls for Christ, they hunt them for Satan, even if they don't know. How? How many stars have you hunted? Exactly. How many have you hunted? And they hunt them and baptize them and they save them and talk to them. Everything that it says here, they go to the street to talk. They yell in the street. They meet you because they try to hunt souls. In the buses, in the trains, they make flyers, gospel evangelizing campaigns. Very well. That harlot, in every way, is the same one in all cases. It says, I liked it in the Torah Shemah because it says, when behold, there met him such a woman with the attire of a whore that was set out to hunt souls like a street talker. 11, she is loud and stubborn, of course. Those that would speak had me, I was sick of them. That you're saved, Jesus loves you, and they yell in the street with the microphones and the megaphones. Jesus is calling you today. Today is the day. You've never heard it on the street. I was so sick of it. I would lock them all up. No, they would make you sick. They would really make you sick of them. That's the way they are. They're loud and stubborn. Her feet abide not in her house. They all go out. They all go out to work, to look for souls for Jesus. Now is she without, like every church, now in the streets, exactly, with campaigns, and lieth and wait at every corner. But of course, and when he saw him, right? So she caught him, because they grab you, they want to take you to the church. She caught him and kissed him, and with an impudent face said unto him, pay attention, this is very good. This is very good, and we used it in 2011 for a different function. But we had understood that it was a woman and that that woman was a church. But we used it for a different function. 14. Notice what she says to him. He represents all the men in the world, men and women, that is. And she represents the church that wants to hunt her victims for her God, Yahweh. A peace offering with me I have. This day I have paid my vows. What does the woman say? She didn't say, hey, come here, let's go fuck. No, she didn't say that. She also didn't say, hey, come, let's go to bed. She doesn't say that yet. She presents herself like home, like a religious woman. And a religious woman of great faith that has paid all her vows. Look at it in a different version, Proverbs 7:14, Jerusalem 2001. I had to offer a sacrifice, and today I have fulfilled my promise. In other words, it's not a prostitute. That's why it's not. She is. But actually, she is just apparent to be a prostitute. Notice number 10 that I didn't highlight. It says when there's a woman goes out to meet him with the attire of a harlot. Notice that it's not that she's a harlot, but she dresses like a harlot, which is different. With the attire of a harlot, it's not that a harlot came out. She is dressed like a harlot, the woman is. Okay. Just like they deceived Judah. Exactly. She was not a harlot, but she dressed like a harlot to have sex with him. So then this woman, it's not that she's an actual harlot. No, she dresses like a harlot to hunt the souls of men, of humanity. And she goes and tells him, I'm religious. With God, I'm up to date. Up to date. This has two explanations. And the Jews explained it very well. This woman is highly religious. And she just came from the temple. Because that's why it says, I had offered a peace sacrifice, and I have paid my vows today. She had to do a sacrifice, and I have fulfilled my promise today. And also another explanation. For a Jew, they can understand it even more. If today there was a sacrifice, and she has fulfilled her promises that she's clean, she's also out of the menstruation period, and she has been purified. Because that is part of the sacrifices of peace, when the woman is purified. So then the woman says, I'm pure already. I have already taken all the blood out. I went to the priest cleansed me, and I've already done the sacrifice, and now I can have sex now. I am ready. For a Jew, that's very important, because he cannot touch her if she's in that period. Absolutely no. Lethal sin. So the woman presents herself, I'm religious, and I'm clean. Therefore, I have come forth to meet thee, since I already fulfilled my vows with Christ, with God. Now I came diligently to seek thy face, and I have found thee. I want your soul. And there she says, she invites him to her temple, to the temple. I have decked my bed with coverings of tapestry, with covered works. In the New Living Translation, my bed is spread with beautiful blankets, with colored sheets of Egyptian linen. Exactly. Not just the sheets, but also all the Egyptian doctrine and the whole Egyptian ways and Egyptian rites. A whole bunch of things the churches, not just the sheets, mind you. 17. I've perfumed my bed with myrrh, aloes, and cinnamon. She says, wow, you're going to have a good time. And even more explicit. Come, let's drink our fill of love until morning. Let's enjoy each other's caresses. She's super explicit. Let us have relations. But it is precisely what the church tells you. We want to have an intimate relation with you. Come to my church, there's the salvation. And here comes the text that's so spectacular that we'll use everything that we used in 2011, but this one in specific, I want to leave you already. Last Shabbat, I forgot to tell you, but last Shabbat we made an asado. When I told you we went to go eat to celebrate the spring, she said, you forgot to tell them how we're going to celebrate. We went and we turned the grill on and made a skirt steak that's spectacular. It was extremely well. It was spectacular. The skirt steak was fantastic. Oh yeah, and sweetbreads. Yes, and sweetbreads. It was the skirt steak and sweetbreads of cow. They don't know that a lot. They don't want to sell them here. I have to go to Argentinian places. The sweetbreads are what in English they're called sweetbreads. They're of a cow, not of a chicken. They're either of the throat or of the heart. It's something white like this, and you do it on the grill. You have to know how to make them well, with salt, lemon, and to open it in the middle, cook them so that they're crunchy, well cooked. They're spectacular. The places here, they don't sell them. I have to go to Argentinian places. In Mexico, it says that they know it, but not a lot. Not a lot. Everyone that I ask in Mexico, they don't know it. According to Google, it says that they're very much appreciated by those that know them. But we made molleja, which is the sweetbreads, and skirt steak. And today, we're going to eat pupusas, right? Okay. You brought, Haiti, you brought the dough, right? We're going to make him here, the pupusas, right? Vilma's not here, though. We're going to make better ones then. I remember Vilma. She used to think she was the queen. She made them well. We went to Vilma's house. I went to go make some. I could care less. She wouldn't let you make them. She was the only one that wanted to make them. And I got her to make some. And for me, the ones that I made were very well made. Because it was my first one. She said, no, but yeah, that's the way you do it, Vilma. Shut up. And I start to look at her and start to make the pupusas. And fuck it, just send it. But she would not allow anyone to make the pupusas. No one. Only she would make them. But she made them delicious. I asked Danilo, you're from El Salvador and you ate pupusas. How were the pupusas? Are they good? Good? Because I don't go to El Salvador to taste the difference. It's like, give or take, give or take. Danilo, the wicked one, I mean, he was mean with her. The criticized with the pupusas is as follows. Of the ones that Velma gave me, I eat pupusas in a restaurant in a different place. I didn't like them directly. I didn't like them. Why? Right, they were. I'm not an expert, but I want for them to add more cheese. I want more cheese, less beans, more cheese. The beans spectacular, and it's all spectacular, but I want more cheese. For the pupusa to be opened, and I bite into it, and the cheese to pour out. I would bite into it. Nah, it was almost no cheese. It was just a little bit. No, I wanted to explode of cheese, like when we make pizza. The Argentinians, lots of cheese. To overabound. It was just all greasy in the pupusa in the picture. And to open it and all the cheese pouring out like this. That's what I want in the pupusa. That's the pupusas that I want, with beans and with lots of cheese. And then all the rest is fine. What do you call the cold that they add? But the curtido is very good. And the salsa that is spicy is very nice. Avoid the lard that they use in El Salvador for the pupusas. They say they add that. I don't know. Whatever. Oh, whatever. I don't care. Not that I don't care. I'm not in El Salvador, but the ones that we're going to make now, they don't have lard. But I would need more cheese. I would make the recipe with lots of cheese to break open like that, to overabound. You're going to understand when you eat pizza in Argentina. Once you eat a pizza in Argentina, in Buenos Aires, like, it competes with Italians with so many videos in Italy that they go to Argentina and they're the inventors of pizza and they say, this pizza is better than ours. If we will make pupusas in Argentina, they would have a lot more cheese. More cheese. More cheese, gentlemen. That is what we'll eat today, pupusas. Going back to the text that I don't know if I should read it. I'll read it, but we'll explain it in extra bad. I've spoken to you already like 3 hours. This text, you'll remember in 2011 for the husband. It says, come, let us take our fill of love until the morning. Let us solace ourselves with love. Let's get really drunk and drink all the wine. Because for the husband is not at home. He is gone a long journey. He hath taken a bag of money with him. And I will come home at the day appointed. Do you remember that text that we used to read clearly? He took that bag with him and he will not come back into the honeymoon, like what it says by text. He will not return until the honeymoon. And precisely the 15th of Tishri was a full moon. So then the coming of Jesus, the husband, who left the prostitute and took the bag of money with what he pays, the life, which is life, in abundance. She took. We know when he'll come. It was in the honeymoon, in the full moon. That's why we use that text a lot in 2011, and they use it, all the religious groups that insist that Jesus comes, or the rapture comes, it'll be on a full moon because of this text. But this text is talking about, how did we not notice this before? Yeah, it's that guy that left in a journey. If it represents that Jesus, then the wife of Jesus is the prostitute, or not. It's clear, right? It's clear. Because it says, come, let us drink and have our fill of love until the morning, for the husband, my husband, is not at home. He left on a long journey. He had taken a bag of money with him, and on the appointed day he'll come home. And with many words, she caused him to yield. That's what they have the most. They have words. With her much fair speech, she caused him to yield. All the fucking religions do that. With the flattering of her lips, she forced him. He goeth after her straightway as an ox goeth to the slaughter, as a fool to the correction of the stocks, till darts strike through his liver, as a bird hasted to the snare, and knoweth not that it is for his life. That is the story. The husband of those churches is Yahweh, and his wife is a prostitute. That all she does is to hunt the precious soul of the man. Spectacular. Well, with this text, we'll continue on next Shabbat. Psalm 78, 1-2. Hear, all my people, my teaching. Pay attention unto the words of my mouth, which I will open the mouth pronouncing sentence, allowing to pour out old riddles. Suck at the liberty's breast, you will always carry her within the heart. They may corrupt you, you may forget, but she is always, always there. The destiny is written. The end draweth nigh and is inevitable. God, the new God, the true God, is Argentinian. Let the laurels be eternal that we knew how to achieve. Crowned with glory, let us live, or we swear, with glory to die. Let's go the eternal truth. Semper Fi. Yeah, I was about to say it. I used to say it before. I'd rather say it at the end. Thank you, Sariel. Semper Fi. Always faithful. In the difference of Yahweh, the eternal truth, the new God of the earth, always faithful. Now, it is an insanity, but soon it'll be the owner and God of the world. Don't forget to give us a like, to comment, and also those who are real associates, active associates of the eternal truth, invest in this message. Invest. Because it is your best investment that will produce eternally in earnings that you cannot even grasp. Unexplicable, unmeasurable. Not even could it even grasp in your mind what you will earn. Hallelujah to every one of you. We shall meet again next Shabbat. Let's go Boca. On Thursday, Boca plays. And on next Tuesday, the Libertadores begins. Hallelujah to every one of you.